Hour, a lot of breaking news from President Trump. He told me the blockade of Iranian ports is now fully implemented. He told me the conflict is close to being over. I sat down with the commander-in-chief for an exclusive interview at the White House yesterday, where he told me all about that, plus the current state of the economy, his expectations for the price of oil, and the reconciliation package to come. Take a look. Mr. President, thank you for sitting down with us. We appreciate it. You've had a real reaction to the blockade. Are you happy with the reaction since you put this blockade in place in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, it's been pretty amazing, actually. I thought that was going to happen. They reacted to this even, I think, we've obliterated them. And this almost seems to be more of a reaction than we had before. So we'll see. I mean, look, it only matters the end result. And we're doing very well. We started off with Venezuela. We showed everybody how good. I rebuilt and built the military in my first term. I didn't know I was going to be using it this much, but we have the greatest military in the world, not even a contest. And think of it, they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, everything's been wiped out, they have no anti-aircraft equipment, they have no radar, they have no leaders. The leaders they have now, it's a new regime, okay? And we find them pretty reasonable, to be honest with you. By comparison, pretty reasonable. It really is a new regime. And I think we're doing very well, but it only matters what the end result is, and maybe it'll happen fairly soon. Who knows?
And you told me on Sunday that you think they will ultimately consent and say they're not going to continue building a nuclear weapon. How will you verify?
Well, first of all, if they don't, we're not making a deal, okay? So there's no deal. This whole thing is really about no nuclear. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if they're going to have a nuclear weapon, we'll be living with them for a little while, but I don't know how much longer they can survive. I don't know how much longer they can go because they've been hit very hard. And as an example, we could take out every one of their bridges in 1 hour. We could take out every one of their power plants, electric power plants, in 1 hour. We don't want to do that because someday you're going to have to rebuild, and it takes you 10 years to rebuild a bridge. Even if you're Trump, it takes a long time, and power plants are just as bad. So we'll see what happens.
Did you get any pushback, like from the Chinese or the Saudis, about blocking the Strait of Hormuz?
No, I had none.
Let me move on to domestic issues, sir. What are your top priorities now for the economy for the rest of the year?
To be honest, we are doing so well. You look at this. I hit the 50,000 Dow mark, which everyone said couldn't happen in 4 years. I did it in 1 year. I hit the 7,000 S&P mark in less than 1 year, which was a number, as you know, you reported it. They said if at the end of 4 years you hit those numbers, I did it at the end of a year. And I said, now we have to do a little bit of a turn, a detour, to a place called Iran, and we have to stop them from ever having a nuclear weapon. And if you told me that in the midst of it, we would have a stock market that's almost as good as it was 2 months ago, just about, very close, and that we'd have oil, that we'd be selling oil, that oil would be at 92 or whatever it is right now, instead of 200, because a lot of people said, oh, it'll be 200. This is in the midst of everything. Now, I think we're doing very well, and maybe people assume we're going to win this thing pretty soon. We've beaten them militarily, totally. The only thing they have is the Gulf, and I think now, or the Strait, as they call it. And I think now, I don't know how they hold out.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the backdrop has changed. I know it's been only a month or so, but oil prices are up 50%. The stock market had a tough first quarter.
By the way, you're
now,
right.
Stocks are
you're
still
right,
up.
But they're not up. I mean, honestly,
You thought it was going to be
I
worse.
thought there'd be much, and I was willing to do that, to stop a nuclear weapon to be used against this country or the Middle East, anybody in the Middle East. They were going to take out the Middle East. To stop that, it was certainly worthwhile, being much higher than it is right now. If you told me that we were going to be at only 92 a barrel, $92 a barrel, I would have been very surprised.
All right,
and
so
you know what? I'm very happy.
Good morning, everybody. Good Tuesday morning.
And I think it can be over very soon.
So
if they're smart, it will end soon.
Overall, the impact on
But
the
they're
economy,
not
do you
smart,
expect any
so it won't
growth?
end
Do
soon.
you expect a spike in inflation?
Well, look, there's a hit because, we go through it for whatever.
They would rather destroy their own people.
There's going to be a hit.
including their own selves, because we'll catch
I
up.
think fully. Somehow
Every
they
one of them.
misquoted me. I think oil will be down to the levels it was. You know, they said I expect oil to be high at the midterms. I don't expect that. I think that we will be somewhere around where we were, maybe even lower. This is going to, when this is over, I think the stock market is going to boom. It's already booming. Again, nobody thought we could be at 50,000 during my 4 terms on the Dow or 7,000 on the S&P. And we hit numbers that nobody thought possible.
You've been talking about a reconciliation program with the Republicans.
I think a lot of that has to do with tariffs.
Can you articulate to our audience why a reconciliation package is important and why you want to see it on your desk by June?
Because we can't get any Democrat votes. With reconciliation, we can get things passed. The good thing is the great big beautiful bill, that was 4 years wrapped into one. Now we're doing some additional things. But, you know, the great big beautiful bill, I think it's the biggest, the best piece of legislation. It should be called the great big beautiful tax cut bill, because you have no tax on tips, and look how that's working out. No tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. We have people, and you see it. I see it on your show. Watch your show. Your show's great. We have people that are making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. They had no idea it was coming. And it's turning out to be even better than we anticipated for people.
But there are rules around reconciliation that it requires deficit reduction, right? How will you ensure that?
How's my sister from another mister?
Well, we have to go by the rules, and we're going for those rules. And if we didn't go by the rules, we couldn't even put it in. We wouldn't be able to submit it. And nobody believes that more than me. The one thing I really felt strongly about was the military. We built this great military that we have right now, and everybody acknowledges it, whether it's China or Russia. We have the greatest military in the world, and I built that in 4 years, my first term. It's a great, including adding Space Force. You know, a lot of the things that you see that work so well is because of Space Force. It was a great thing that we added when we went for Space Force.
So what can you put in the reconciliation bill? Other than funding Customs and Border Patrol and ICE, anything else?
Well, we're doing mostly that. This is mostly about that.
Now, this interview is, I think she did it yesterday with President Trump.
But, you know,
she started it on Sunday,
slim,
and so this is like the continuation, but this time she did it in person with him.
Nobody came in. I'm not even sure I can believe that. But the Democrats do the numbers. It's really, you know, the agency that does that is, they tend to be on the Democrat side, to put it mildly. In the last 9 months, not one person came across the border illegally. Now compare that to 25 million people coming across by Sleepy Joe.
I was there. I went to the border 6 times. I saw it. I understand what you're saying.
They came in by the millions, hundreds of thousands a week, just pouring it, totally unchecked. And you know, the countries, I know the leaders of most of these countries, they're very smart, they're street smart.
Meanwhile, now
some are highly educated, some are, but they're very street smart.
News,
they don't send their good people to us. When they do a caravan, 25, 30,000 people in a caravan, you don't have their good, you have people that frankly, even if they're not criminals per se, they don't want to work, or they want welfare, or they sent all these people to our country.
Lyndon B. Johnson is who gave welfare out. He said if you give the African-American community welfare, they'll vote Democrat for eternity, and that's just garbage.
It's called Save America, as you just did. A lot of people like to go with the Save Act. Nobody knows. It's Save America.
LBJ was very much a pre-judges person.
Citizenship.
Ideally, mail-in voting, you knock the hell out of it. Can
you make it a budgetary item?
It's good for the military. You know, the military's away. They have to be able to use it, etc. Somebody that's sick, somebody that's away, you can't. And you do mail-in voting. But mail-in voting cut back so that it's fair.
It's tax day. What do you want to make sure people understand about the changes that you put in the tax code in the big, beautiful bill, and how significant?
Good morning, Sharon Peterson. How are you today?
The refunds are really significant, and it makes it less complicated to do your tax return, much less complicated. But the people, I mean, I think you're seeing this. You're reporting, everybody's reporting, because now it's gone into effect. And people are getting refunds of $5,000, $8,000, $11,000 that they had no idea they were getting. It's turned out to be better, as good or better than I said.
That was in part was to mock Nancy Pelosi. Good morning.
It will
Good
be.
Sunday morning.
Gasoline's coming down very soon and very big.
So you think gas prices will be lower before the midterm elections?
I think they'll be much lower before midterm, much lower, yes.
Okay. Now, you've suggested...
I mean, that's on the assumption that we stop a country that cannot have a nuclear weapon from... If you give Iran a nuclear weapon, you want to see bad stock markets? You won't have a country. The world will be blown up. You can't do it. You cannot do it. So on the assumption we have that settled, hopefully long before that, and maybe almost immediately, could be very soon. But when that's settled, gas prices are going to go down tremendously, and gasoline, gas prices, cost per barrel, fill up your car, per gallon, any way you look at it, numbers are going to go down. Electricity is going to go down. You know, it fuels sort of everything, not just cars. It fuels the economy. If you get that down, one of the reasons I was so successful in my first term is I was able to keep gasoline prices down. I was able to keep energy down. Now, look, if I decided not to go into Iran, which would have been a terrible thing, for 47 years, no president had the guts to do it, and they should have done it. And I know at least one, and I think all of them that are living, are sitting back watching this and say, we should have done it. This should have been done long before me. It would have been much easier to do. This should have been done long before me.
Mr. President, let me
What
ask
Obama did with that Iran nuclear deal, that was the worst deal ever made. That gave them a path to a nuclear weapon, a short-term path to a nuclear weapon. I terminated it. It was the greatest thing I did. They would have had a nuclear weapon 4 years ago. Then we hit them with the B-2 bombers 8 months ago. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month, maybe 2 weeks. And they would have used it on Israel and the Middle East. And they would have used it on us, too. And not just Israel, by the way. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE.
New poll is up.
When they got hit. You know, these countries were not expected to be hit because they were going after those countries.
If this interview wasn't happening, I would still be sleeping. I woke up and I thought,
President Trump in a new interview
she said Wednesday there'll be a live.
His comments come hours after big gains on Wall Street.
But they're going to go down to defend. I think that much is a given. People could just be a little patient.
Christiane, good morning.
Sophie, good morning. President Trump is suggesting a new round of peace talks.
Yeah, get them out of here because
they're just going to They're expected to be led once again by Vice President Vance. U.S. Central Command announced overnight that the U.S. blockade in the Strait of Hormuz has been fully implemented, cutting off trade in and out of Iran, giving the U.S. more leverage and
all right, we're going to come back to that interview later.
But the big issue remains Iran's nuclear program. During the first round of peace talks, the U.S. demanded Iran stop its uranium enrichment for 20 years. Iran pushed back.
That one I think was old, or a little old.
Wow. Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey. Meanwhile, now to foreign policy. President Trump revealing to Fox News he believes that the war with Iran is close to ending.
Wow. Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst joins us now in Tel Aviv. Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. President Trump laying out the latest timeline for the war in an interview with Fox News. He says the conflict is close to finish, but the mission not yet complete. A second round of talks between the U.S. and Iran could take place as early as tomorrow, as the president laid out why the operation began.
I had to divert because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir. And you don't want to do that.
Well, you keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished.
The president's comments come as U.S. Central Command continues to block Iranian ports with more than a dozen support vessels. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper explained the impact of this move, saying, quote, a blockade of Iranian ports has been fully
Computer dismissed.
U.S. forces maintain maritime superiority in the Middle East. An estimated 90% of Iran's economy is fueled by international trade by sea. In less than 36 hours since the blockade was implemented, U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going into and out of Iran by sea. The Iranians are now responding to the blockade after the IRG threatened to target any U.S. ships in this area. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian taking a slightly different tone.
There is now a problem in the Persian Gulf, and the world has been thrown into turmoil. This has had an impact across the world. People are dissatisfied and have raised their voices. But we ourselves are in the midst of this turmoil, and despite all these pressures, our work is progressing properly.
Amid talk of diplomacy, there are thousands of additional U.S. forces arriving in the Middle East this week. President Trump wants to maintain a variety of options in case these diplomatic efforts fail.
Something tells me with troops keep on going over there more and more and more, I got a feeling it's not over,
in that meeting
not even
with
close.
JD Vance could not make the final decision. If there's a round two, who's going to be in that meeting that could make the final decision? If I'm JD Vance, I don't want to go travel 18 hours again, sit for 21 hours, and find out whatever deal I have can't be finalized.
It's a great question, and we've been talking with U.S. officials. They say the Trump administration is not going to make the same mistakes that previous administrations made when it comes to dealing with the Iranians. They're not going to let the Iranians drag out these talks indefinitely. If the president does send another team back to Islamabad or a different location in the region, it would be to get a deal done or ultimately look at other options. We do understand there are conversations taking place about scheduling the second round of talks. But after the Iranians have had a few days to go back to their capital of Tehran and speak with top officials, the expectation is they would be able to come back to the negotiating table with a serious set of conditions and the consultations that were made in the Iranian capital that would allow them to make a final decision and create some sort of good faith agreement with the United States.
All right, Trey, thanks so much.
So there's an op-ed in the New York Times today, and it says how Trump can wrap up the war. It's by Brett Stevens. And he writes this: first, Trump should put Iran's regime to a fundamental choice. It can have an economy, or the regime can attempt to have a nuclear program while trying to control the Strait of Hormuz. But it can't have both. Second, Trump must bear in mind what precipitated the current crisis with Iran, not its nuclear programs, but the murder of thousands of Iranian protesters in January. What Iran's leaders fear more than economic collapse is the wrath of their own people. The most important step Trump could take would be to warn the regime publicly and in a way that gets communicated to Iran's people. That will intervene militarily if it, again, attempts a bloody crackdown on public protests.
Well, I would just say, the president already gave them the economic choice. I mean, what did he do the first 6 months of his administration going to the Middle East? He's made that pitch all over the world. These are people that fundamentally, and he gets to this at the end of the article, that reject that idea. So you're not dealing with, power brokers here that want economic prosperity over their religion. They choose their religion. The second thing is the president is not ignorant to what's going on in Iran. He understands that that these people right here aren't really in charge that he's dealing with. The question is, does he want our troops to get some rest so they can get back to the battlefield? And I think that's pretty much what's happening.
So they're losing $435 million a day. The reversal on the blockade has been a brilliant move. It has stopped all transit. They're not selling any oil. Originally, they said, let's let the Russian oil and the Iranian oil out there just to keep the global price of oil and gas down, or reasonably down. Well, the flip side of that is they get some revenue. So the president said, enough. We're stopping all of it. Nobody in, nobody out. And the risk, of course, is they'll respond by shutting down the Red Sea with using Houthis. They haven't done that yet because they are desperate. Keep in mind, as Brett Stevens writes, and he's a conservative columnist that originally started off anti-Trump, and he said, when Trump started the second term, he goes, I'm starting with a clean sheet. He goes, I'm going to call balls and strikes. And the one thing that he appreciates is the fact
that they all should have had that mentality on the liberal media left.
Yeah.
They rose up in the streets in January. And you know what happened? And the Pope Leo should understand this. Between 30 and 41,000 people were killed in cold blood. And they charged the families for the bullets that they had to use to kill their loved ones in order to get their bodies back.
That
didn't reach the Vatican. I don't know why. Number two is
the Vatican doesn't give a crud. Are you kidding me?
At 140%.
180.
180%. And they're losing they've lost 2 million jobs since the war started. And they already had high unemployment.
Holy cow.
So this thing is a tinderbox. What I love that he brought up, and the president thinks this, but he knows using the term regime change is not something that's really works in our favor. We don't want to go do that and flip every ugly government in that direction. But we do know that the people have no way to communicate. And they are going to be massacred if they rise up.
I wonder if maybe I didn't put them on ignore at some point in the past, and that's why I can't see them.
Supreme leader do what Saddam Hussein did when he left after the Persian Gulf War and just
weird.
annihilate thousands
no big deal.
of people.
It's just
that's going to be
they're
on us.
to
so
me.
we have to find a way to help the people.
Yeah, I liked how he broke down, you get to choose. You want an economy or you want your nuclear program? Do you want your stockpile of enriched uranium or do you want the strait to be reopened? And if Iran targets the Arab ports, there will be consequences. America or Israel can destroy Karg Island.
Yep. We'll be following. The president has options. We'll see what happens.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the
All right, so Kentucky Republican Rand Paul is the chair of the Homeland Security Committee, which is great. But I happen to know he's a monetary expert, as was his father. We used to talk all the time about
this ought to be good.
And I kind of miss
Rand
that.
Paul,
so
the traitor.
Paul, I thought we'd have some fun. Kevin Warsh, okay, free hashtag free
that
Kevin
terrorist
Warsh
regime's got to go,
by
definitely.
The Justice Department. Anyway, the Warsh nomination is now set for April 21st. That's the Banking Committee hearing. All the papers are in. Okay. Interestingly, Treasury man Scott Bessent said, I think yesterday, that for now, with the energy prices high in the war, it is not a good idea to have the Fed press down interest rates. So he's sort of taken Kevin Warsh off the hook. And since I saw you were coming on as a guest and I was delighted, I thought I'd get your opinion about that. This perhaps is not the time, maybe later in the year, next year, I don't know, but perhaps not now with near $100 oil. What do you think, Senator Paul?
You know, Larry, it's got to be a setup when someone calls you a monetary expert. When I'm just a lowly physician, a surgeon, but
and go back to being expert. A surgeon.
But you know
Get out of
I'm
Congress.
humble enough to know that I don't think anybody's monetary expert enough to know what the price of any commodity or any good should be. And the dollar is no different. The price of interest is similar to the price of bread or similar to the price of anything that should be based on supply and demand. And anybody that tells you they know the correct price of the money or the correct interest rate is actually lacking.
I used to like this guy at one time, but
so I really don't know what the interest rates should be. I don't know what the price
he's
of
really
bread
flipped
should be.
The script.
The marketplace should be determining it. And for the most part, humans should stay out of the way. I know the Fed sets the overnight rate and has influence on interest rates, but most people say there still is a marketplace. And really, I would rather see the Fed following the marketplace rather than leading the marketplace.
I agree, 100%. I agree with that.
I know you and I were of one mind. I knew it.
No, listen, I used to agree with your father about watching the price of gold back in the day. But the point is, for the moment, Bessent is not agreeing with President Trump. Mr. Trump wants rates down. Now, you don't want the Fed pushing more and more money into the economy, which might make a temporary inflation permanent. And that's why I think Bessent is giving good advice to Warsh and whoever listened. Let's not force the rates right now. Let's not force the Federal Reserve into being overly easy and expansionist. And we really don't need it anyway.
Well, and the OECD and others are saying inflation is higher than people had been projecting. I think they said maybe 4.2%. Others are saying 3.5%. Certainly better than some of the other currencies around the world, but there still is some risk. And, easier money, looser money is probably not the answer. I think staying the course and not looking for an easy fix, but we're still a great place. I mean, the marketplace is still doing well.
Morning, Sierra. How are you?
Despite the price of oil.
Yeah, I've cut back on Coke. I've only had, I think, just one full one. That was yesterday, first time in a week.
There was a lot of easy money floating around at the time, too. I'm
trying to change my unhealthy ways, at least to an extent.
100%. Now, have you met Warsh? And what do you think of him? Are you ready to support him?
How you doing, though, Sierra? You doing good?
He comes with good recommendations and a great academic pedigree, as well as.
I got a recommendation. How about we vote this guy out of office?
Believing in fiscal responsibility. high remarks on his character and his academic credentials. I have not made any kind of final conclusion. I'd like to meet with him, like to hear more about, what his thoughts are on how to run the central bank. But I'm not committed, one way or the other strongly.
He wants a smaller Fed. He wants no central planning, a smaller Fed. And I got to believe you for that.
Sounds like a man after my
Vendetta, good morning, good sir.
I knew you'd like that. And I think you ought to meet. He's a really good guy, and he's a smart guy, and he has tremendous integrity. But the Justice Department should not hold this up. That's what worries me. Mr. Tillis, is making his Custer's last stand. I mean, it's time to move on. Let's just get this done. Jay Powell shouldn't be Fed chairman for life.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. No one should be Fed chairman for life.
It's called compromise.
I'd really like to eliminate the positions. We didn't need a Fed chairman, but
it's good to see you in here again, Sharon.
It will be freed up.
It
but
is.
I also think that,
We've
look, I'm not a
missed
big
you.
Jerome Powell fan, but I'm not
It's
a
just
big
not
fan
the same
of
without
using
Sharon.
the law to go after people. Was there a lot of waste and bad decisions on building some palace over at the Fed? Absolutely. Whether that rises to some sort of prosecution, I hate to see lawfare on either side, really. So I think the best way to let Jay Powell go is to.
Okay, I've heard enough of this
kind
dude's voice.
Let's
puke. All right, here we go. Punch it, Chewy. Is that the auto pen? The auto pen. That's crazy. I like his auto pen portrait way better. The actual auto pen. 92% of everything that man signed in office was not signed by him. It was signed by an auto pen.
He's chairman delivering.
We call them the auto pen.
Speaking of that, let's check in on Joe Biden. He's got his portrait unveiled at Syracuse University today, and here he is with the university's Board of Trustees chairman delivering nothing short of a Biden classic.
I always want to turn around to one guy and say, Barack, what are you doing? Come here.
That's for you, Brother Ken.
Come here.
I'll never get that voice right, but I do
feel
try.
Like he should be standing on the right and I should be standing on the left. Hey,
they're both traitors. They're both traitors.
Anyway.
All right, joining me now is Louisiana Republican Senator John Kennedy. Senator, it's
John
good to
Kennedy.
see you. I just was watching you take in the former president. Your thoughts?
I love John Kennedy.
Well, the
if I ever
Democratic
grow up,
Party
I want to
is
be just like John
controlled
Kennedy.
by the Loon Wing. And that doesn't mean they're all Democrats or a member of the Loon Wing, but the Loon Wing's in control. Who are the leaders of the Loon Wing?
I need to find me a
Senator
loon
Sanders, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Mayor Mamdani. And the people they represent, how can I put this? Their
what does a
motherboard
loon
is
sound
fried.
like in nature?
I mean, Republicans aren't perfect, but they're crazy. The wing of the party that is in control, that Ocasio-Cortez and Mamdani and Bernie are the leaders of, they hate George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Abraham Lincoln and Dr. Zeus and Mr. Potato Head. They hyperventilate on their yoga mats if you use the wrong pronoun. They think our kids ought to be able to change genders at recess. They have a unique solution to the crime problem. They have a way to get crime down. It's just don't prosecute anybody. I mean, the American people deserve to be governed by normal people. And these are not normal people. They are deeply weird. They're nauseously woke. They have the right to believe what they believe. But don't let it affect America or the American people. My opinion too. And I think their motherboard is fried, deep fried.
Deep fried motherboard.
Do you think, well, everything deep fried turns out good. You know that good and well, Senator from Louisiana.
Have you ever tried a motherboard that's deep fried?
Not this dish.
Not this dish. It's not at the Texas State Fair, not at the Louisiana Crawfish Boil. Deep fried motherboard coming from the left. You mentioned not everybody, okay? You're there in Washington, D.C. Do you ever hear it? Do you hear it from Democrats? I don't know, in the cloakroom, my God, we've got to deal with these crazies.
Sure, hear it all the time.
Sierra, Nicole,
well, I don't want to overstate the case. Well, there are many Democratic senators that know that the Loon Wing and all of their nonsense. They know it's foolishness. They know it's craziness, but they're scared because Loon Wing is in control.
Yeah.
I also call it the Karen Wing, and Bernie and Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez and Mayor Mamdani, they're running the show. It's not Senator Schumer. It's not any of the other wannabe presidents in the Democratic Party. It's those three, and it's really
AOC
more Ocasio-Cortez and Mamdani than Bernie, though Bernie is sort of the founding father.
33,
and I mean,
or however many
Republicans
Democrats
are not
are
perfect.
in office.
We're not, but their wing of the party is crazy. They're crazy as a bed bug.
I'd give you a vote. That's right. Bed
Until
bugs
they
bite
change.
too.
Right.
I don't
You ever
think
see
they're
a
going to
picture
win
of a
a
bed
presidential
bug?
election.
Them jokers
I don't
look
know
nasty.
what Mr. Potato Head did. What did he do wrong? Why would you hate Mr. Potato
Yeah, I mean,
Head? 'Cause he's
Mr. Potato Head, Dr. Zeus, they think they're all racist. You know, I just don't.
That's racist.
I don't get it.
That's racist.
I know. I don't think you have to get it, and you don't have to explain it, because I'm down to 10 seconds. And Senator, you could get 5 more quips in those 10 seconds, but I've got to leave it over to the 5. It's always good to see you,
Desiree.
Senator.
How are you?
You too, Will.
All right.
All right.
Be sure
right
to
on.
like and
Right
subscribe
on.
for
I
all
love
the
Kennedy.
Fox News latest on YouTube.
Welcome back. The fraud fallout continues. You might remember viral videos from Nick Shirley, the independent journalist who helped put a spotlight on fraud nationwide, including California's Hospice Center fraud.
Put hair on your
Last
chest.
week, California Attorney
Make a
General
man
Rob
out of
Bonta
you.
took a victory lap, bragging about his state cracking down on massive fraud schemes in Los Angeles.
Operation Skip Trace uncovered and ended a hospice fraud scheme that defrauded Medi-Cal of $267 million.
Wow.
So just to be clear,
$267 million. Wow, that's okay.
Over.
Here's what that
funds
number
that
looks
are
like.
paid for by California taxpayers, funds that are meant to provide care to Californians in need. It is unacceptable, it is illegal, and we will not stand for it.
Too little, too late, Mr. Attorney General. Look, we're all for stopping fraud, but at the same time, his wife, Democrat Assemblywoman Mia Bonta, is pushing a bill critics say could make it harder to expose fraud. It's called the Privacy for Immigration Support Service Providers. Critics are calling it, though, the Stop Nick Shirley Act. What would it do? Well, it would let eligible individuals keep their home addresses confidential.
Make a man out of you.
It would also ban the sharing.
You eat a slab of bacon right now this morning, right? Eat just even a pack of bacon. By morning, you're going to have hair on your chest. Make a man out of you. That stuff's good. And it's good for you from a certain point of view. It's good for your taste buds, but it might not be the best thing for your arteries if you eat too much. But hey, what's that matter, right? As long as it tastes good. We got to have some fun. I just woke up.
Sharing of photos or personal information that could lead to any type of harassment or harm online. And it allows victims to
I'm waiting to hear back from Nick Shirley about being able to play his videos without
of up to $10,000
YouTube
or even
having
a
the coronary arrest in
in
its
jail
spirit.
if you are found in violation of the Privacy for Immigration Support
He
Service
does, and you know, he did really well at McDonald's.
Critics say, though,
he did way better than Kamala would have ever had if she actually worked at one, and she never did.
Are already
The
dealing
records
with
were never found.
massive fraud scandals. And a lot of those red flags were brought to light because people actually went out and looked. Fox News' William LaJeunesse visited a California home health center where the credentials of an 87-year-old doctor were used to bill for 29,000 non-existent patients.
What?
Fox News Digital uncovered $3.5 billion in taxpayer losses.
In Italy.
1,900 hospice providers. That's more than 36 states combined.
That's 36 states combined.
There were 112 of them at one location, one commercial building.
What?
And the average stay in hospice was over 3 months. All right, joining us
My
now
God,
is
I need to go into a
journalist
business
Nick
like that.
Shirley.
These people getting
Nick,
rich.
Good to see you again. What do you think? Is this the Stop Nick Shirley Act in California?
Stop the press. Look at that in the background. That is my favorite Rocky movie. Oh, when Balboa chopped the Russian down. Pop, pop. He's cut. He's cut. The Russian's hurt. The Russian's hurt.
Yeah, they're trying to make it so citizen journalists or just average Americans who are going about seeing what's happening inside their community, they're trying to scare them from talking about potential fraud taking place inside of these communities. And like,
the thing is, Sharon, the Democrats used to be at least 85% different. They were Kennedy Democrats. They were, they loved the nation. They wouldn't have put up with all this garbage, with all the fraud. Those Democrats back in the day were actually decent, way more in comparison to what we have now. What we have now is a bunch of hot garbage. How did they get into Congress? They, they did their thing. I get it. They worked hard for it. But they're deceptive too. And all politicians are. What I was taught when I was just a wee little lad, and I didn't get much taller than when I was a wee little lad. I'm still a wee little lad. I'm not quite as Zacchaeus in the Bible, though. Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, his Savior heart to see. And one day he passed that way. He looked up in the tree. He said, Zacchaeus, you come down. I'm going to your house for tea. The Lord loves the sound of it, although I'm a terrible singer.
Fine or imprisonment if you go and seek to find out the truth about a location that could potentially be fraudulent inside your own neighborhood.
The modern day ones are, unless you have a President Kennedy attitude of Democrat, and I think they're still out there.
The Quality Learning Center.
The Learning Center.
Clearly fake
here we go, guys.
In Minnesota. There's your shirt. Yes, always on.
I got an idea.
You would attempt to see if there's any children inside, right? And somebody comes out and talk to you. And now that person who's there possibly committing fraud could file a complaint in California that Nick Shirley is harassing me online, right? That's how it would work in effect. And then you would either see a year in jail or a $10,000 fine.
Yay. Thank you, Brother Ken.
That's what it sounds like.
I try.
And
the Lord loves it.
Because inside these states like Minnesota and California, they've been proven to let fraud take place inside these immigrant communities. You have the Somalians in Minnesota, the Armenians in California. And they're trying to protect these people who are committing this fraud. They're stealing millions upon millions of dollars. And it just makes you wonder who their donors are. Like, who are their donors? Because why would they?
Every one of those rooms, from my understanding, every one of them had fraud going on in them. Those are all hospice rooms. I need to get me a hospice hotel. Wow. I think we're missing out, folks. But you know what? It's nice to know I don't have to look over my shoulder. And all these illegals, send them home. If they need saved, we'll send missionaries to them. I mean, we've been sending missionaries forever to nations, and that's the right thing to do because that is absolutely a ministry. Someone's got to get their backside saved. Not only Jesus could save them, but we got to bring Jesus to them. Unless we can get them into the church before they leave America, and then maybe once they get back in their home countries, they can begin to enact change in their nations and leave us alone. If you love your nation, why would you leave it? I mean, unless they're threatening to, take your life every other 25 seconds or maybe 35 seconds, but still, what's 10 seconds? Wouldn't you want to stay in your home country? Those are your people. Would you want to be a traitor to your own people? How do you live like that in your mind? How does your conscience, how do you sleep at night?
They create this bill to then try and make it harder to expose fraud.
Yeah, that's a great question.
That's exactly what it is.
Who is funding Mia Bonta's campaigns? Why would she be pushing this bill? Why would she be so threatened by your journalism? Those are actually great questions that we'll do our best to look into. I know you will as well.
Organizations like
BLM, you do great work out there,
and
we encourage you to keep it up.
Organizations like what's his face, the George Soros Foundation. His little boy took it over. The Communist Party. The Triple CP. Punch it, Chewie. And I throw a stormtrooper. I can't even hardly pick up a granola bar, let alone pick up a stormtrooper. You know, those guys can't shoot. Brother Ken, stormtroopers could hit the broadside of a barn 2 inches from their face. And yet Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope says, these are too accurate to be saddened people. Only Imperial stormtroopers can hit things like this, or something to that effect. You got to understand, Obi-Wan Kenobi's in the desert for like 20 years, or actually, I think technically 19. And he's out there protecting Luke at every turn. And so his mind starts to go a little bit. That's why he's getting stormtroopers confused with clone troopers like Rex or Cody. Okay, on to another video. Punch it, Chewie! Where's the volume? Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume. Biff,
price
biff.
tag. Since the
Oh,
pandemic,
it's Man Dummy.
grocery prices have gone up, and they haven't come back down.
I
During
wonder
our
why.
campaign, we promised New Yorkers
You
that
get free
we would
groceries.
create a network of city-owned grocery stores, one in each borough. And we are here today to celebrate the site of the Manhattan store, La Marqueta, which will be open by 2029.
What is it?
Joining us now to react, senior writer for the Washington Examiner and Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, they, and by they, of course, I mean 100%.
Can somebody translate? I know English, I know Klingon, and that's all I know.
And you know what, Joe? Took less than a year to build, and guess what? Cost a lot less than $30 million. So what the heck is Mamdani celebrating here?
Hey, UK.
Well, that's a very good question.
Welcome
Todd.
in
and
UK.
This was a campaign of a smiling socialist con man from the very
at least
beginning.
Me personally, and I don't want to speak for everybody else,
should have known better,
but we love the
UK.
UK.
These city-run stores are already projected to cost twice as much as Zoran Mamdani first promised. And we know the way things work in New York and in this area in general. If they're projected at X now, by the time they're done,
Mamdani
they'll
needs
be
to
double
repent
and triple that.
and become conservative.
And now he's saying that the first of 5 stores won't open until 2029. I mean,
What?
shut the front door here. I mean, by the way,
he almost said
how
it.
opening 5
F-bomb
city-run
dropping.
grocery
Boom,
stores,
boom, boom,
where
boom.
some of the prices will be no different than non-city run stores. Mamdani is admitting that now. How will that make it more affordable for 8 million people, where there are already more than 1,000 food stores
You
to
know what I'm
choose
going to
from?
do?
So between this and the...
I can, because I care, and I can because I can. I want to do 2 things really quick. It won't take long because you know me. I never do anything for a long period of time. I'm always about the short, being 5 foot 2 3/4. So we're going to pray for Great Britain right now. Listen, don't think that your prayer doesn't work, because it does. And any two agreeing on one thing, let's make that happen. Let's pray that the peace of the United Kingdom, that their people will not have to suffer no longer at the hands of radical Islam. It is the insidiousness. And yep, I might have went to Lake City High School, but I did look up the word, and I do know what it means, and I have taught on this twice. The insidiousness of Islam, or the insidiousness of radical Islam. And I took out the radical because someone said to me, they said, "Hey, Mike," and I said, "Hey, what?" And they said, if they called jihad, which means my struggle or struggle, if they call jihad, even the average citizen that is hold on. Muslim. The average citizen that is Muslim, I got to be like the Democrats, because you know the Democrats, when they're talking about South America, they'll say Latina, Latino, something about males and females in the South. So I got to say Muslim. I want to be just like those idiots in Congress, not the regular everyday Democrats like Sierra. I'm talking the ones in Congress like AOC plus 33, but definitely would never include me, don't you see? I'm glad to be a conservative. I like to conserve things. And so we're going to pray for Great Britain, the people, because they don't have a Second Amendment. They don't have ICE agents. And Mr. President, send ICE agents to Dearborn, Michigan. Let us begin to clean house. Let's get them all out of here. And don't send them to the UK. Send them to France. Because France emptied their Muslim community onto Great Britain. And this is why men like Starmer will not side with the United States. Because he doesn't want to upset the 7 Muslim mayors he has and several Muslims in Congress or whatever they call it, the parliament. To treat your people with such disrespect as Starmer's people do, to mistreat the United Kingdom's people, to let a child assaulter, for the lack of a better term because YouTube's stupid, to let a child assaulter out of prison and to put a United Kingdom citizen into that jail cell just because they put a Facebook post of disagreeing with the government. I don't care if you agree or disagree. You should have a right. And I know they don't have a constitution. I wish to God, at minimum, the British people could have a Second Amendment like we do. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, in the name of Jesus, Lord, you created all things. All things were created by you. All things were created for you. And you created that little island that has held such power over the millennia. You know their people, you know their heart, and they are crying out for freedom. Bring a peace to their people's heart and remove their leadership in government by vote, since they don't have a Second Amendment. And Lord, begin to heal that nation. That way their people don't have to live in fear and doubting of their own government. We fought them in 1776, 13 colonies, and we could have lost at any moment. But the will of God was for the United States to be created, founded on your gospel, Jesus, with the freedom of other religions, so the liberals don't have to have a coronary arrest in their spirit, which, okay, fine, whatever. So, Lord, I ask you to give the United Kingdom new leadership. Let them be able to form an ICE squad, if you will, to go in there and clean their house out too. We shed blood against each other. Lord, you were there. You saw the entire war, every aspect, every angle, every private moment, every open moment, because your omnipresence fills the universe. And Lord, bring peace to their people. We shed blood against one another in 1776. And then we became powerful allies. We crushed Nazi tyranny. We crushed together the Nazis. We crushed Imperial Japan. The Japs had to go. Well, they stopped running because of a certain couple of boom booms. And Lord, I ask you, God, to bring peace to the British people. Lord God, and if we have to, in the future, when the time is right, allow us to liberate the British people from absolute tyranny. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In Jesus' name, amen. I just felt led to pray because they are, in a lot of ways, our cousins. My family hails from Great Britain and Germany, non-Nazi, in a totally non-Nazi way. So their people are also my people because my family originates The Langs, L-A-N-G. My mother's maiden name. Okay, come right back, Angela. We'll miss you where you're gone. Tell Joe we said hello if you're able to. And so the British people will always have a place in my heart. And one day we may have to liberate you guys again, but differently this time. I mean, it's probably still going to take the same amount of violence, unfortunately, but we cannot allow the British Isles to fall to Islam. That cannot be a thing.
Free buses that may never come, and the free childcare that's definitely never going to come because the billions just ain't there. Zohran Mamdani's social media prowess and making the city more unlivable and certainly not more affordable, that may well be his legacy. He's currently at 48% approval right now, where you say, hey, that's pretty good.
Tony, I agree with you 100%. God will have his day
of his
and
first
hopefully
term, as was
by the sword of
Bill de
America,
Blasio.
which is
so
a
he's
weapon
already going
in the
south in a
Lord's
hurry
hands.
because people are realizing that, yeah, they got conned.
Okay, quick clip here from Mamdani admitting that not all things that are sold at this grocery store are going to be sold at a lower price. Listen.
When it comes to the products that we will be selling at these city-run grocery stores,
they'll all be made in Islamabad. Well, because Islam is bad. Get it? Islamabad. Islam is bad. I thought about that the other day. No one taught me that. And you're welcome, Claire. I don't do it just to get your subscription. I don't do it to get people's memberships. I say it because it comes from the heart. Because we did shed blood against, and then we started to shed blood together. We wrapped each other's bandages around the wounds of our soldiers. We took care of one another. And that should never change. And when a government is taken over by radical Islam, that can never be good. I want to interview somebody from England on my channel. It'd be like a special exclusive thing. I want to be able to get somebody from Great Britain, UK, whatever you want to call it, right? They're still our allies. Starmer might be an absolute idiot, but you know what? Their people might be able to fire him if they don't cheat in their elections. So it'd be fantastic to get rid of Starmer. I want to interview, but I don't know anybody from Great Britain. You know, they would go live on my screen. We'd do split screen. I'd invite them in on the channel, and we would just talk about the situation in England from somebody's point of view that lives there, that's going through this, that have been absolutely torn apart by the insidiousness, which means to sneak into quietly to destroy. The insidiousness of Islam must be stopped. Now, I'd rather have that done in the political area. Texas has banned Sharia law. It went go bye-bye. Now we just got 49 more states to go. Punch it, Chewy.
there will be an essential basket of goods that will be guaranteed at a cheaper price.
Shot of Zohran
really got in his face there.
I can't wait to see those prices.
This could possibly work because apparently there's going to be, like he said, this basket of goods like milk, egg spread that are going to be sold at a cheaper price. But then it sounds like everything else is just going to be standard.
One basket
much,
of goods.
Yeah. And the thing is, you know, I lived in a city for a while. Carly, I know you did as well. You go to the grocery store that's like maybe a block or two from you because a lot of people
Hello, Lee.
don't have
How
cars,
you doing,
right?
Lee?
They use the public transit system. So again, opening 5 stores in such a sprawling city.
So what? It's almost 3 p.m. there, right?
This is how you make things more affordable. I just don't see how it works. And to Todd's point, when we first came on, when this has been tried in so many other towns and cities throughout the country, almost always it fails, and it fails quickly. So
when I do interview somebody, and I strongly intend to,
how this makes a dent
I want to get to know the person a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
As a result, more people are
you're out of here,
leaving
you
from places
hack.
like Tennessee, Texas,
Get out
and
of my
Florida
channel.
because
Get
there ain't
out.
No income tax, state income tax in those places.
Before we let you go, I want to squeeze this in. The Justice Department's weaponization
working group publishing a report revealing
some people's
the Biden
children.
administration's
This is why
bias
some people
against
should have never been
pro-life
allowed to
Americans.
reproduce.
It is
Because
severe.
this is what you
And
get.
one thing that
That
stood out
is
to
the
me, one of the
effect
documents, one
of
the
liberalism.
assistant U.S. attorneys, you know, an officer of the court, somebody who's tasked with implementing the law here, writes, unfortunately, we ended up with a very Catholic magistrate this week. He was very particular about not infringing on their First Amendment rights. This individual mentions this like that's a problem, like, oh, no, we have to follow the First Amendment, Joe. What was going on in that administration?
I mean, that's the funny thing about the Biden administration. His allies in the media would continually tell us, including the president then himself, that he's actually a devout Catholic who just happens to believe in, you know, abortion. Overall, when you peel off this terrible, horrible, no good, very bad presidency, it continues to reveal itself as one of the more corrupt and weaponized administrations we have seen in our lifetime or any lifetime. And let's not forget that Merrick Garland, who was the Pen's Attorney General, he was once considered to be a moderate for the Supreme Court, and then he proved himself to be anything but that, with zero respect for the office or for the law. And Joe Biden, obviously, a one-term president who was forced out by his own party. That is his legacy. And unfortunately, Catholics, pro-life people in particular, always seem to get the short end of the stick in these situations because I guess they're seen as a minority in some place, I guess.
Joe Concha live for us. Joe, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Joe.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
All right, here we go with another video right here, right now, on Mike Shriver Ministries. No other place you'd rather be. Punch it, Chewie. Chewie, punch it. There it goes. Okay.
Assault.
I believe he drugged my drink.
Oh, this is terrible what happened to her.
I only had one glass of wine.
I have a couple questions about this, though.
I arrived at his hotel room. I was already incapacitated, and I couldn't.
She arrives at his hotel room, but she's already incapacitated. How do you do that? Did he carry you in? And I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I'm a realist. I'm just being fair here. Her story has some questions that any judge, or not judge, but any defense attorney is going to pick her apart. And if he's guilty, then we need to put him in the slammer. But if she's lying.
Move my arms or my body. He raped me. And he choked me.
He is a scumbag. And that's probably why he resigned. He's absolutely guilty.
And I thought I died.
Now, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says the Special Victims Bureau is investigating the case. Fox News contributor and professor Jonathan Turley says that Swalwell's enablers knew the truth and protected him anyway. And he joins us now. Good morning to you, Jonathan.
Yeah, he thought he was untouchable.
Thank you, Ainsley. Good to see you.
Thank you for coming on. I want to talk about her case. But first, you wrote this op-ed talking about the people who were his close friends. They probably knew all of this. Why do you believe that?
Yeah, I've been one of his most vocal critics for years, and you have Democrats now calling him a monster, but very few people in the establishment or the media want to talk about who created that monster. And the fingerprints are rather obvious. I would include in that list Nancy Pelosi. He actually cited Pelosi as his mentor. She was the one who rescued him in 2020 when the Fang scandal came out, where he's accused of having an affair with a accused Chinese spy. It was Pelosi that intervened and said, I have no concerns about Eric Swalwell. When people said, at least take him off the House Intel Committee, she said no. She actually intervened and said he's going to stay on that committee. And she now says that she had no idea. Well, these allegations have been around for years. He was a loose cannon in Washington, D.C.
And the Dems just covered everything up, apparently.
He was that attack dog straining on the leash. And the person holding that leash, I view as Nancy Pelosi.
You are a law
Guys,
professor.
we are
You're an attorney,
59
so I have
subs
some
away
questions
from
for you about
4,300.
the lady
I
that
want to
came
hit
out yesterday,
5,000
Lana
in less than
Drews.
a week
A lot
from
of people
now.
want to know
That'd
why
be
these women
fantastic.
come out so long, so many years later. Is it because, have you found they're older, they're more mature, they've had therapy, one does it, and then they feel like they need to do it too?
You know, actually, this is not uncommon. Many women do not report these types of assaults. There's a lot of reasons that go into it, including the obvious trauma. Now, when you put on top of that this was a powerful individual. I mean, Swalwell was a made man. We won't talk about who made him, but in the media, but he was a made
his
guy.
parents
He
made
was
him,
very powerful
right?
in the Democratic establishment. A lot of these women
Unless it's
likely viewed
immaculate
that as
conception
an
like my
unequal
kids were,
battle.
but
That
I
the
don't
most
think
they were
so
going to
with
get
this
out
guy's
of this
case.
was to be further victimized.
Right.
Once victims start coming forward, you begin to see other women saying, you know what, I'm going to tell my story as well.
Now, Jonathan,
by the way, yeah.
Is there a statute of limitations? Is that a state rule? No statute of limitations on rape, right?
Yeah, California and New York, he's not going to have a statute of limitations he can raise. These allegations would
unless you have like a video or something. How would you be able to prove that like 30 years later?
And likely two
I mean, I think it's fantastic,
already to
but
the police.
it doesn't make sense because I mean, unless they have the medical evidence.
Why his resignation was something that most defense counsels would have encouraged.
Because anybody could make anything up.
Is to have to answer questions.
Satan made him. Angela, that's a great point.
That could be used in any future criminal trial.
Really quickly, before we run out of time, I want to play
I don't think you're wrong on
who
that.
Came out yesterday, because I was wondering, does she have any proof of this? This is what she says.
I did not consent to any sexual activity. Although I did not undergo a rape kit at the time, I disclosed the assault to the people closest to me.
Okay, that's going to be hard for defense
I also
or for
recorded these events in my handwritten calendar.
Yeah.
The assault and its impact were later documented during my therapy sessions at a sexual assault center in Connecticut.
I'm just kind of reading off the script. I get it. She had to have a speech prepared. Okay.
Impact
I understand.
on my mental health.
So, Jonathan, is that enough?
Flagrant, you think so?
Those contemporary records are very key here. And what she's describing, now Swalwell's denying all this, but what she's describing sounds like a date rape drug that was used. And that's another avenue for the police to explore. But those contemporary records, speaking to friends at the time, are enormously important in a criminal trial. They add credibility to the allegations.
Jonathan, thank you so much.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
And I'm Mike
Click
Schreiber.
here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Next video, we got another video coming up here, right now. Mike Schreiber Ministries. No other place I would rather be than right here with you guys, right here on Mike Schreiber Ministries. Punch it, Chewy. Rah, rah, rah. Chewy. There it goes. It had to take a second to catch up for some reason.
U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going into and out of Iran. All right. Turning now to this, U.S. Central Command announcing that a blockade of Iranian ports is now in full effect. They posted 2X, writing in part, quote, in less than 36 hours since the blockade was implemented, U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going into
Sharon,
and
I
out
believe
of
that
Iran
is
by
probably
sea.
true because
President Trump
his history
the war
with
could
women
soon
and mistreating
wind down
women
while speaking with
is
Maria Bartiromo.
legendary.
Listen.
You keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country.
Speaking of steaks, my daughter made
And
the
we're not
best
finished.
steak I've ever eaten the
We'll
other
see
day.
what happens. I think they want to make a deal very
Wow.
badly.
That's why she's in
Senior fellow at
culinary
the
school,
Independent
because
Women's
she
Forum,
is the
Dr.
best.
Kanta Ahmed joins me now, and thank you so much for doing just that.
Ahmed.
Yesterday, President Trump told the New York Post that another round of negotiations between the U.S. and Iran could happen in Islamabad over the next 2 days. So what is your take, Dr. Ahmed, on where all of this stands right now?
Holly, this is President Trump signaling
optimism
Thomas
from a position
Wakefield.
of
Welcome
incredible
in.
dominance. The naval blockade is in force. 12 warships, over 100 fighter jets, 10,000 of our troops are enforcing that. Half dozen ships have been turned away. It's economic strangulation for Iran, and it also indicates that we are very serious. We don't want to see recovery of this regime and its politics. The other thing is that Iran has oil off the coast of Malaysia and China that it plans to sell, about 100 million barrels. Banks and all kinds of fiscal constraints and
I think we need
sanctions have
to
already been
intercept
imposed,
all
announced
those
by the Secretary of
assets.
Treasury. So there's no way out for
There
Iran
is an
at the
embargo
moment.
still, isn't there?
Well, the Wall Street Journal has a piece out right now titled "Iran's Regime Has Changed for the Worse." It goes on to write, in an address to the nation 1 month into the war, President Trump called the new leadership, quote, more reasonable. Instead, the void is being filled by radical new leaders who have shown little interest in political compromise at home or abroad. The piece goes on to say that Iran is being currently ruled by a younger, more hardline regime, and the Revolutionary Guard is playing a more dominant
It sure would have
role.
been
I mean,
nice to get a
obviously
man
much
in
different
there
take
that
on
isn't like
who the Trump
the father.
administration
Yeah,
is
just,
negotiating
I
with
question
and what
that. I don't
President
know,
Trump
but
and
who do you put
Vice
in?
President J.D.
I mean,
Vance have said
probably
they
anybody
are.
but
They've
that
called those people
psychopath.
reasonable. So what is your take on this reporting?
So that is the fear. That is the fear that after decapitating so much of the Iranian leadership,
Oh, this is good.
this could
Watch
harden
this.
some of the fundamentalists and empower the IRGC, which makes it even more important to disable
I got a
Iran's
breaking
ability to
story
wage war
for ya.
outside of its borders. Even though I am
I don't know
absolutely
how you can break a
grieved.
story because it's a story. How do you break a story? And here we go. We got another video. This one's more important, so it's going to take precedent over this one for now. Fox News 6. Punch it, Chewy. Ruff, ruff. Come on, load sometime this week.
Let's start here. So U.S. Central Command says that U.S. forces are maintaining their naval superiority in the Middle East. Commander Admiral Brad Cooper posting in part, in less than 36 hours since the blockade was implemented, U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going in and out. And the numbers spell out the impact, with estimates that
Well
the blockade
said,
could
Sierra.
cost the
Well
regime
said. There's always bad
$435
apples in every
million
group.
every day.
And
So
one
meanwhile,
bad
President
apple
Trump
ruins
laying
the
out
whole
why
bunch if we're not
Operation
careful.
Epic Fury started
That's why
in
we
the first
removed
place,
them.
sitting down with Maria Bartiromo at the White House.
I had to divert, because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir. And you don't want to do that.
Well, you keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. But we'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly.
And Matt Finn is live in Dubai. And of course, the Gulf region
I don't
has some
think they want to make a
thoughts as
deal
well,
at all. Otherwise, they would have made the deal with Vance.
Yeah, they certainly do, Dana. And it's the third day of the American blockade here on the
They
Persian
still want
Gulf
that
behind me.
enrichment
So
for
far,
nuclear
no
weapons
reports of any
capability.
major incidents. But on the topic of the 2-week ceasefire that we're in the midst of, a short while ago, a senior U.S. official telling Fox News that the United States has not formally agreed to an extension of the ceasefire. There is continued engagement between the U.S. and Iran to reach a deal. Now, a short while ago, also, the BBC reported that the Iranian military is threatening to block shipping in the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Oman if the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues. The U.S. says it's not allowing any ships in or out of Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz, but it is allowing other ships to use the strait. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper writing in full, a blockade of Iranian ports has been fully implemented as U.S. forces maintain maritime superiority in the Middle East. An estimated 90% of Iran's economy is fueled by international trade by sea. In less than 36 hours since the blockade was implemented, U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going into and out of Iran by sea. Now, Kepler reports that yesterday 3 vessels passed through the Strait of Hormuz.
Hey, you're
and
loafing.
Fox confirms a 4th ship,
You're not
a
supposed supposed to loaf. I forbid loafing from my cats.
As well. Now, President Trump posted the truth within the past hour. China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I am doing it for them also and the world. This situation will never happen again.
Get down. She's climbing through my shade, like literally.
President
What
Xi
did
will
you
give me a
find,
big
toy?
fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. We are working together smartly and very well. Doesn't that beat fighting? Now, here in the Persian Gulf, Saudi Arabia is pressuring the United States to drop the naval blockade, fearing it could cause the situation with Iran to escalate or
I love
further
cats.
disrupt
They're so much
shipping
better
routes.
than
That's according
dogs.
to a Wall Street Journal report. Now, the UAE, the country that we're in, they have been very vocal about doubling down with their relationship with the United States and said they would even stand by the United States if force is used on the Persian Gulf. Dana, Bill.
Matt Finn, thank you so much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming.
And here we go with another video. We're going to go right back to this video. What do you know, eh?
For the Iranian people who've been lost in this and are still subject to their tyranny. But I do believe the major negotiations are at a much higher level. This involves China. This war is all about not only defanging Iran, but repelling some Chinese influence from the Middle East. And
She's
China
right.
is getting the message. China is extremely concerned. Asia is mostly dependent on oil that comes from the Straits of Hormuz towards Asia. We're not dependent on that. And so I believe negotiations that are at higher level. Pakistan being a location for those negotiations is interesting. Pakistan is invested in an intact Iran. Pakistan has economic and energy interests with the Iranian regime. So it may not be exactly neutral, but the Pakistani chiefs, the chief of the military there, the Field Marshal Asim Munir, and the Pakistani Prime Minister enjoy a very direct engagement with President Trump.
Yeah, and the president yesterday, he clarified, he said, we're not going for no enriched uranium for 20 years. He is sticking to no enriched uranium for Iran forever as these negotiations could be set to get underway. Once again, we will all be watching.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Not all dreams mean something, but you never know.
This has to be the end of Iran's nuclear ambitions, because we have seen what the Iranian regime is planning for the region.
Absolutely.
It's being executed now.
With the hope of getting the already 60% enriched uranium out of the country as well. Dr. Ahmed, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll be watching. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News
$5 super chat from Angela, the child of God. Absolutely. We had Angela last night on Mike Shriver Ministries right here on YouTube. Our first ever Testimony Tuesdays, and it went fantastic. We had a good time. We learned a lot about Angela, what she's been through. We learned her strength and her resolve are without question or contestation. She's been through hell on earth, but she also found Jesus on earth. Isn't that awesome? Here we go. Good morning and welcome to the best channel on YouTube. Please be respectful and enjoy. This is the MSMS Troll Patrol. I love it. Oh, headed by our great captain with Admiral Jesus Christ at the helm. And also, I can't do this alone. I would be so surrounded by the trolls with souls, they would be still threatening my life. And they love to do that. For a while there, I was getting literal death threats. Oh, when you go to your car in the morning, when you open the when you pull the handle, it's going to explode. They made a mistake and used my first and last name once doing that. Some people's children, I'm telling you. And on to another video right here, right now, on my Shriver Ministries. No place I'd rather be than right here with you. Okay, here we go. Punch it, Chewy. Ruff, ruff. Come on. Yeah. There we go.
With duct tape and spit.
The Straits of Hormuz from the beginning.
Worse. The public and private sector of Iran is being held together with duct tape and spit.
The Straits of Hormuz
He's always got good ones.
Closed, unstable. The Iranian regime.
Schumer's talking about himself again.
Everything has been made worse by Donald Trump's war of choice.
He's going to start the blockade.
When do these people learn?
To finance their war. I think this will ultimately drive them back to the negotiating table.
Well, the U.S. blockade of Iranian ships going to Iranian ports is happening. If you look at the blockade numbers, the service members involved, 10,000 plus, 100 plus aircraft, 12 warships. According to Central Command, the blockade has prevented
and Space Force. Let's not forget Space Force.
Vessels turned around, 6 of them. It's happening actually in the Gulf of Oman. It gives them space to maneuver. It's a little safer there, but you can look at the U.S. military assets in the Middle East as of just a few minutes ago. And there's still obviously significant presence there. Let's bring in our panel. Fox News contributor Hugh Hewitt, Fox News senior political analyst Juan Williams, and Annie Linsky, White House reporter for the Wall Street Journal. Hugh, what do you make of the blockade? It seems like we're heading towards another sit-down with Iran in coming days.
That's what President Trump signaled today, that he expects more talks to occur. I think the blockade was the necessary next step. It's ordered in
Patty
sequence.
Jenkins is
kinetic
in
military
the
strike on the ability
house.
to
Patty, how
the
you doing
weapons
this
that could harm our
morning?
military.
I hope you're
Now
feeling
grab
well.
them by their fiscal throat and cut them down. I would
God's been
direct
good to you,
everyone
Patty.
Iran
Amen.
International. A report has leaked today that the Iranian Central Bank has warned the government it will take 12 years to recover, and they're facing 180% inflation inside of Iran. The hammers come down on Iran, and I think they're crumbling.
Well, their leadership should have played it smart and played ball with the United States, but nope.
You know, I talked to
Why
Vice
do
President
that
Vance last
when,
night
you know,
on the show. He is talking right now at Turning Point USA in Georgia. Just talked about where he thinks things stand at this moment. Take a listen.
Right now, the ceasefire is holding. And what you're seeing is what the president wants to make, he doesn't want to make like a small deal. He wants to make the grand bargain. And what he's basically offering to Iran is very simple. And frankly, it's something that no president has, I think, has had the ability to offer. He said that if you're willing to act like a normal country, we are willing to treat you economically like a normal country.
Yeah. Went on to say that he feels good about where things stand, thinks that they're going to get back to the table, and that's what the president signaled earlier.
Yeah, this notion of a grand bargain is something that he, of course, mentioned when he talked to you yesterday in that interview last night. But I think, you know, what the White House and the administration have really been able to do with this reverse blockade is buy some time for, quite frankly, either strategy to work. The blockade means that the United States did not have to take Kyrgyz Island by force, and cuts off funds to the Iranians, sort of their economic bloodline. But it also gives the American forces time to prepare if the president does decide that he wants to go in, and that option very much still is on the table if this grand bargain that he talked to you about and Vance is talking about tonight doesn't come together.
Yeah, Juan, obviously it affects a lot of other countries that have a flow that goes through the strait, including China, which warned the president that you shouldn't go down this road if it affects the world economy.
Which is a very interesting moment. I think
what,
the Trump
because it affects China?
Thought that the Chinese would put pressure on the Iranians. Instead, it looks like the Chinese are suggesting to President Trump that the blockade of the Gulf of Oman, but also the lack of traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, is impacting not only China, but could lead to a global recession, and that they would, you know, the fingers would point at him. Right now, again, I don't think the president anticipated this, but you think about, you know, Spain, Italy, the Brits, all of NATO, the Pope, you know, are putting pressure on him. And I think you're going to see that the president is going to look for an off-ramp in these upcoming negotiations. The question is what it will be. I think a lot of people would be disappointed if it just basically boiled down to the deal that Obama had back in 2014, which is we'll lift some sanctions and you promise to stop your nuclear ambitions, as you would put it. But what does that mean? Does that mean 5 years, 20 years? I don't know.
But Hugh, you know, that JCPOA, the problem was enforcement and actually making sure that the Iranians lived up to their end of the deal. And we found out over time that they didn't.
We could take all hour to talk about the problems with the JCPOA, Brett. It was the worst diplomatic deal in history, but the president will not agree to that. He is going to demand an on-time, anywhere inspection regime. I think he must get back the highly enriched uranium, either through the IEA or through some consortium. What Juan mentions is true, but the reality is we don't care what the Chinese think. We don't care what our NATO partners think. I'm very certain he doesn't really care what the Pope thinks right now. Donald Trump cares about bringing Iran to heel and maybe getting freedom to 92 million Iranians. And that's what I think the Pope and the other people ought to be cared about too.
The Iranians said to sit down. They wanted to make sure that there were also peace negotiations between Israel and Lebanon and the fighting with Hezbollah. A New York Times, in rare direct talks, Israeli and Lebanese officials seek way forward. They're not expected to immediately produce a deal to end the war between Israel and Hezbollah, the Iran-backed Lebanese militia that Israel says is attacking its attacks are targeting. Lebanon was hoping that a ceasefire would be reached. Netanyahu of Israel has ruled out a ceasefire. The aim of the discussions in Washington would be disarming Hezbollah. Here's the Israeli ambassador on that.
We discovered today that we're on the same side of the equation. And that's the most positive thing we could have come away with. The head of Hezbollah warned the government of Lebanon yesterday not to participate in these talks. And the government of Joseph Aoun bravely said no to Hezbollah. And this is the beginning of a very strong
Does he got something in his throat?
Hezbollah.
Sounds like maybe he's sick or something.
Andy, as we're talking about the fight with Iran and all that's happening, we haven't really been talking a lot about the battle between Israel and Hamas and Israel and Hezbollah.
Yes, and I think, this very well could be one of the unintended consequences, and if potentially a very positive one, of this action in the Middle East. These are two parties that have not spoken to each other in 30 years, I believe, and now they are talking. And I think that point bears repeating, that Hezbollah did not want them to go forward, and the Lebanese decided that they would do it anyway. And it does allow this possibility of boxing out another terrorist organization.
Would be something. Stand by.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
That's right. We got the please do that. I'm very curious. I'm curious, Sharon, did you dream it in color? Because in my lifetime that I can remember. Now, on average, a human has 9 separate dreams a night of varying lengths. A dream that might feel like to you when you're in your dream might feel like forever. But it's only seconds may have passed. So I've only dreamed in color twice that I can recall in my entire life. And I remember those dreams vividly. But that's the only time. Everything else is black and white when I dream. It's really weird. Then again, am I normal? I don't know. I guess that's debatable. Don Trump is in the house. Let me just give a shout out to everybody. We got Don Trump up in this piece. And in 2 weeks, I think that's the schedule. So this coming Tuesday, we got Brother Ken 7. We have the following Tuesday on Mike Shriver Ministries Testimony Tuesdays. We got Don Trump. We're going to have Donald Trump with us live on screen. Just like Angela, Child of God, last night did such a fantastic job. It was pretty fun. And so Don Trump will be 2 weeks out from, or a week from this coming Tuesday. After that, we have Patty. After that, Patty would be on the 4th. And then after that, I'm still taking people that are willing to go live with me that I know already. Like if you're new to the channel, like in the last couple of days, let me get a chance to know you more. You never put somebody up in your pulpit that you do not know. So, yeah. So, anyway, let us get back to it, Pruitt. Punch it, Chewy. I can't do my cat voice anymore. And here we go with another video right here, right now, Mike Shriver Ministries. Sorry about that, a little bit of a delay, but yeah, this one's got to be redone. All right, so let's go back to here.
Host and former California gubernatorial candidate of action, the Larry Elder Show host and former California.
How many want to vote for Kamala next time? Do we have any Kamala supporters up in the House?
Tommy, you know California politics really well, as does Larry, and this was an open secret in California, apparently, at least among Democratic circles. Everybody seemed to know. Nobody ever said anything. And it would appear that this takedown, if it came from any political side, it would be the Democratic side. Your thoughts?
Yeah, certainly. I think the Democrats in California who run that state into the ground, I might add, I think they were awfully nervous that they might end up with 2 Republicans on that ballot because of their jungle primary system. And they certainly could not risk that. And I think that they knew that some of these allegations against Swalwell would likely come out if he were to be their
Swalwell
candidate
needs to
for
go
governor.
bye-bye.
So I think they wanted to get ahead of it. They learned their lesson, not getting Joe Biden out of that race quicker. They didn't throw Joe under the bus fast enough. So Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them, they knew they had to get rid of Swalwell. I would venture to guess they probably came to him, said, hey, now's the time to drop out. He wouldn't do it because he's got an entitlement complex. And then I think they let it rain down on him. We watched it happen in real time over the weekend. It was out of the governor's race and then resigning from Congress. But I would say this to all of his Democrat BFFs in Congress and elsewhere. You better hope Swalwell doesn't have anything on you, because I have a feeling he's backed into the corner and he might start singing like a canary.
What a great observation.
Angela,
likely true.
That's a good point.
Larry,
I prefer meat to word salad.
California politics as well as anybody. I mean, you've been out there your entire life, and I find it fascinating now that it appears that there is a possibility that the number 1 and number 2 surviving candidates that could be on the ballot in November could both be Republicans. What are the odds of that happening?
We'll see. The fact is that the top 2 people in most polls are both Republicans. That's because of this cockamamie so-called jungle primary that the Democrats set up to keep them in power. It may very well backfire on them because they're like
God
kids
bless
in bumper
you,
cars.
Angela, for the kind words.
At some point, though, Sean, trust me, the Democrats are going to coalesce behind one person. They're going to force everybody else out to make sure that at least one of the top 2 finishers are, in fact, Democrats. I was surprised, shocked, that Eric Swalwell ran because, as Tommy pointed out, these rumors have been going on around for years. And Nancy Pelosi claims she never heard anything. Well, Willie Brown, the potentate of California, former mayor and former
that's a Bible
Speaker
scripture.
of the Assembly for
The
15
potentate.
years, said that the rumors had been around, and he heard about the rumors from Adam Schiff and, wait for it, Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, that was too quick. We didn't get to wait.
Who claimed total ignorance today?
Man, them birds are having a field day out in my yard. So cool. So cool.
I know nothing, right?
My daughter has a bird feeder out there. She keeps stocked
Tommy,
all the time.
I want to look at this, though, more objectively.
Because
we
she's
go
the
back to
best.
the Kavanaugh case, and as that story began to unfold, everybody's story began to fall apart. Well, I think they spiked the punch, and I saw him serving punch to girls in line. Well, he was near the punch bowl. That's what it evolved into. Well, there was a line of guys outside of a room, and he was in line. Well, he wasn't in line, but he was near the line. And they destroyed this man's life. When you make serious allegations...
Hello, Lou Pinky.
they have
Welcome to
be
Mike Shriver
taken
Ministries
seriously,
right here on
to begin with. And I know the
YouTube.
left always says they have to be believed. However, I paid very close attention to every one of the
I'm
women
considering
that
it.
we
Yes,
played here
absolutely.
and one
I got an
sounds more
overcast
credible
day,
than the
so
next.
that's not a bad thing for crappies.
Especially that first woman claiming rape, being sober.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I have to go get a
completely
fishing
sober,
license
saying
first, though, and
no.
that's like $25.
If that
But
woman goes before
I'm considering
any
doing it
jury,
absolutely.
I cannot see anything but a conviction on the horizon for Swalwell.
Yeah, her story was certainly very
Angela did
convincing.
great
As
last
I
night.
watched it, I would note that a lot of other networks didn't feel that they needed to really cover this as much as Fox News has. But I will say this. I'm not one of those people that believes in just saying the woman's word is gospel, believe all women. I don't think it's as black and white as this.
Well, yeah,
However,
a lot of women, if they
the
really
allegations
wanted
against
to be
Brett Kavanaugh,
jerks,
those
they could
were,
make
you know, a decade or
accusations
more
against a
ago
man from
when they
50
came out.
years
This has been
ago,
recent stuff, and it's a
and
pattern over and over
he
and
might
over again. And I have a
actually
feeling
be
more women are
innocent
going to
in
come
theory.
out. So for Eric
And
Swalwell,
yet,
by the way,
it
to come
destroys
off
their
of the
reputation,
Fang
even if they're
incident
proven
and have
innocent.
just
That
such an
did the
entitlement
damage.
complex, so
But
much
if they did it,
narcissism, so high
they
on
need to
his
put
own
these people in
supply
prison for
that he
life,
just laughed that one
or
off and
even
then continued,
possibly the
allegedly,
death penalty.
with certain behavior. It just goes to show
Yes,
the
we're going to
contempt
take you
that
to
some of these
Lake
Democrats have for the
Misaki.
people that
Lake
they supposedly
Misaki.
serve. They think they can get away with everything, but Eric Swalwell found out because he threatened Democrat power
Oh,
in
no, because I
California,
fish.
and they aren't going to
Here,
have
let me
that.
stop the video.
You know, for a guy that wanted full transparency as it relates to Epstein, I would say we need full transparency now.
I'm going to rewind the video a little bit, and then I'll talk so you guys can hear it all. So here's the thing. I'm going to go down to this lake right here, and it's not raining right now. I'm going to get some lunch, and around noon, that's probably what we'll do. Hey, good morning, none of ya. We got a whole bunch of some of yous here, and then we have none of you also. Get it? Knee slapper. Ow. Headbanger. I thought it was funny. So, Lake Misaki. That is my home lake. I am literally 2 city blocks from it. On the north end of the lake. So Lake Misaki right there in Misaki. And Misaki is an Indian. Oh, wait, no. It's not Indian. It's indigenous American, like indigenous peoples. Computer. The word Missaukee is an indigenous American people's name. Now, what does that name mean?
The river in indigenous languages. It could also be named after an Ottawa chief called Misaki.
Misaki may mean, okay, it might mean large mouth of the river. Hey, and I'm going fishing. I got a big mouth. At least I used to be able to fit 3/4 of a Big Mac in one bite. Computer dismissed, home screen, stop listening. You're annoying me. So, yeah, we'll be going to Lake Misaki. But there's no river that connects to it, not that I'm aware of. So it must be named after the chief. Because I don't even think the Clam River. Yeah, I know. I messed it up. At least I didn't call them Indians. I mean, indigenous to North America. I mean, you know. Yeah, so Misaki. It might have been the name. Let's see. Auke. Indigenous chief name. So anyway, we're going to go to Lake Misaki. I'm going to buy some pinhead minnows. And then we're going to try to go butcher by the bushelful crappies. Crappie fishing is best between April and mid-June. And after about mid-June, if they're still in the shallows, after that, it's hard to find them jokers. I mean, they're masters at hiding. They go out into the deep water, and they're actually, you'll see them. You wait till I start catching them, and it's going to get crazy. It's going to be one after another after another. And here's a picture of what I'm going after. The news will still be there when we get back. Okay, so here's what I'm going after. I've never seen them this size before, but my sister-in-law caught a 16.5-inch crappie about 4 years ago, just before my mother passed away. But here's what they look like. So Mike Shriver Ministries is going to be having a Mike Shriver Ministries fishing for men, but yet not fishing for fishes instead. because I like to catch fish. They're good eating fish too. So here's a picture of one. Typically, I literally am down there every day. Last year, I did not because the only thing I had focus was on this channel. And of course, my family, that's a given. Although I am not married, ladies, I am on the market. And I'm waiting for the Lord to send me the right woman. I am single by choice. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I might fornicate. I'm just honest. I'll tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. I don't sugarcoat stuff on this channel. Right there. Look at that. Look at that. They're beautiful beasts. They're more beautiful than my cats. And we butcher them by the bushelful. I'll limit out. We can limit out on 25 of them. In the South, you guys call them specks. Specks. In Michigan, in the North, they're called crappies. Yeah, they are big. They're very big, and they're not. I don't think that's AI. But still, you can find them that big. Yeah, absolutely. They're beasts. Yeah, get that guy out of my channel. What do you mean? But don't hold your breath. Get out of here. So anyway, I will be taking our channel down there today. Since it's my first time ever going live and fishing at the same time, it shouldn't take me that long to set it up. I got to find my stick for my camera. I hope I didn't lose it. It's got to be here in the house somewhere. I take it to church to record the services, so I hope I didn't leave it there. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do it very easily. Yeah. So anyway, I plan on doing that sometime today. It's overcast, which is always good for crappie fishing. Punch it, Chewy.
Story began to unfold, everybody's story began to fall apart.
Do you?
Well,
do you? And you call them crappies in the South? It does have a similar, and they're thin like a flounder,
he was
too.
Near the punch bowl. That's what it evolved into.
We call them.
There was a line of guys outside of a room, and he was in line. Well, he wasn't in line, but he was near the line. And they destroyed this man's life. When you make serious allegations, they have to be taken seriously to begin with. And I know the left always says they have to be believed. However, I paid very close attention to every one of the women that we played here tonight. And one sounds more credible than the next. And yeah, especially that first woman claiming rape, being sober, completely sober, saying no. If that woman goes before any jury, I cannot see anything but a conviction on the horizon for Swalwell.
Yeah, her story was certainly very convincing as I watched it. I would note that a lot of other networks didn't feel that they needed to really cover this as much as Fox News has. But I will say this. I'm not one of those people that believes in just saying the woman's word is gospel, believe all women. I don't think it's as black and white as this. However,
don't believe all men
allegations
either.
Against Brett Kavanaugh, those were, a decade or more ago when they came out. This has been recent stuff, and it's a pattern over and over and over again. And I have a feeling more women are going to come out. So for Eric Swalwell, by the way, to come off of the Fang incident and have just such an entitlement complex, so much narcissism, so high on his own supply that he just laughed that one off and then continued allegedly with certain behavior. It just goes to show the contempt that some of these Democrats have for the people that they supposedly serve. They think they can get away with everything.
She's on the prowl right now. There's squirrels and birds out by my daughter's bird feeder just mowing down on that seed on the ground.
They aren't going to have that.
Okay, man. Look.
For a guy that wanted full transparency as it relates to Epstein, I would say we need full transparency now, and I'd like to see the release of the Fang files, Larry Elder.
Yeah, and he's got more problems than that. He's also flat broke. According to the California Post, he owes money, student debt. He's borrowing from his credit card. He's raiding his retirement account. And
we actually caught a mouse together a couple years ago.
That his marriage is in
three
deep,
of us,
trouble as well.
we were hunting.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that mouse played dead, and we had it cornered underneath a table.
Making allegations.
And
all right, so
finally, a couple hours later, my cat walked in my room with the head of the mouse in her mouth, and she laid it before my feet.
At the same time, simultaneously,
I accepted her sacrifice.
I can imagine charges could be pending any day now.
Hold on, baby. Hold on.
Yeah, I'd
you got
imagine,
Freddy
even though
Krueger
Alvin
clause there,
Bragg really
Dudette.
doesn't want to put anybody in jail. I have a feling in this case, perhaps, because now that the
I
Democrats
went sea
have
fishing
turned on Eric
once,
Swalwell,
caught the
there's
first
a
fish
higher
of the
likelihood something's
day.
actually going to happen.
It was some
Larry?
throwback sand shark or something when
Same
everyone
thing.
else
He's in
started
trouble
catching
legally, and
keepers.
also very
I
likely,
never got another
there'll be
nibble.
some civil
Aw,
lawsuits again if he
Sharon,
denies
I bet you got
allegations and
disappointed, didn't
accuses the
you?
women of lying. I can imagine them filing a defamation suit. He's in.
Sharon, it's okay. The fish that they caught were probably garbage fish anyway, so you were better off not catching one. It was probably a sheephead. That's probably what they were catching, was sheephead. On Lake Erie, sheephead, people will catch them just to toss them in the ground at home to fertilize their gardens. They're garbage. Hey, what you doing? Okay.
Serious, serious trouble.
Serious.
Yeah, and you're a good lawyer. I don't know if
Yeah,
you can
it's
get him off. I
Nymeria.
don't know
Yep.
if anybody could at this point.
Aye.
We appreciate
Who's
both
a
being
good
with us.
baby?
Tommy
Who's a
Larry,
good
Elder.
girl?
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Who's a
Hey,
good
click
girl?
here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
I'd pick Lucy up, but she'd probably scratch my eyes out. She's prone to violent tendencies. I got her fixed, and she improved by like 85%, but still, she's not to be trusted. Well, Paula's in the house. Okay, here's where I want to go. I want to go to Fox. Paula, what's new today in your life? It's good to see you. We're going to go fishing later on, by the way, together. We can, because I care. I want to be a fisher of men, but now we're going to go be fisher of fishes, if I can find my doohickey. Okay, so we need... Alrighty, almost there. Cat, if you beat me with that tail again, I'm not going to have nothing left for a face. She's violent. She'll take her tail and she'll go squat, squat when I'm live. I think she's trying to get my attention. I got no attention to give. I can't even pay attention to detail. I can't even afford to pay attention. Those are good ones. The detail one, I just made that up. I've never heard that before. I can't even pay attention to detail, let alone anything else. It's called a singular wit, fast thinking. Boom. Okay, so here we go, folks. We didn't watch the 5 yesterday, so we're going to watch the 5 right now. Because all the cool people are watching the 5, and you should too. Right here on Mike Shriver Ministries. Where we have fun, but we're deathly serious.
That's my twin. She's the reason I take this work so personally.
I forgot. There's like 10 trillion commercials
every day, and I help make them. That's why I make sure.
Does that mean she gets free meds from the factory?
I know exactly what it means when it works.
Oh, I got to get the fork and knife, or the fork and plate sound.
Jesse Waters and Jimmy Fela. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is the 5.
Everybody get your puke emojis ready. Jessica Tarlov is a bane on society, but she's got balance, I suppose.
She gets hit with a shocking new rape allegation, adding to a growing list of sexual assault claims. Some accusers are speaking out on camera for the first time, including a woman who says Eric Swalwell drugged and raped her when she was working as a model in LA in 2018.
I believe he drugged my drink.
That guy's got to be shaking in his boots, and rightfully so.
When I arrived at his hotel room, I was already incapacitated, and I couldn't.
Incapacitated? Now, what's that actually mean?
Arms or my body.
So he picked her up and carried her in.
And he choked me. And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness.
They need to lock him up for a long time if they could prove this.
And then he sent me a photo of his penis. Finally, it reached a point where he invited me to a hotel to meet him. It was very clear what the connotation was.
You miss having your cats, yeah.
Eric Swalwell's attorneys denying
Feeling
the
better.
allegations
My
against
in-laws
him,
are
calling
coming
them
from
quote,
Michigan
false,
today.
fabricated, and deeply
making beef
offensive
stroganoff and
a
Greek green
calculated
beans
and transparent
and
political
sourdough
hit
bread.
job.
My father-in-law
Meanwhile,
insists on
Arizona Senator
dessert,
Ruben Gallego,
vanilla
who
ice
once
cream
chaired
and
Swalwell's
chocolate
presidential
sauce.
campaign
Awesome.
and described Eric
Sounds
as,
yummy.
quote, my best friend.
Can you email me a
He
plate?
faced off with reporters for more than 40 minutes today, vehemently denying any knowledge of inappropriate behavior except rumors of flirting.
This man led a double life. He lied to us. He lied to his family, lied to his constituents. Anybody that asks, or anybody.
That's a good point, Paula. That's a good point.
It will get whatever they want, without a doubt. Since I told him to drop out, I
Men,
have not spoken
no
to him.
women want those pics. Yeah.
Should you have acted when you first heard these rumors several years ago?
The rumors I heard were that he was just.
And why would you
flirty
want pics of
social-
that?
That's it. He became very good at being a predator.
Nowadays, there's nothing left to the imagination. That's what my mom used to say. She used to say, Michael, these women, they dress so skimpily, there's nothing left for the imagination.
Lying to his family, lying to his community.
Well, Jesse, that all escalated very quickly.
Yeah, well, the Democrat machine's pretty slimy. If you think about it,
Yeah,
Nancy
it is.
Pelosi was Eric Swalwell's mentor. She put him on the House Intel Committee, kept him there even after Fan. Jeffries put him on J6 committee. So he was sponsored. He was a rising star, and they used him as a weapon to hurt Trump. And they looked the other way at all of these
I
shenanigans.
bet President Trump is
Until he
rejoicing
threatened their
over this
power in
because that guy
California,
treated
and
Trump
then
like
kaboom,
garbage.
Coup.
Like
Nuked
worse
on
than
the eve of the
garbage.
primary. First shot fired Friday in the hometown paper, San Francisco Chronicle. That hurts. It was local. And then over the weekend, you just see a domino of endorsements collapse. CNN
I like
gets
Domino's
the woman
pizza.
in spot shadow. The network, CBS, now have three
Domino's,
women
that's pretty
face
good.
out there. And then Monday, he takes himself out. They didn't even need this woman on Tuesday. You accused him of choking her, raping her, and drugging her. This was highly orchestrated, professionally organized. This was a political assassination. And I think it was only possible because the Democrat machine knew about all of this for years. And everybody in Washington's admitting they knew about it. Everybody's admitting this was all out there. Did the
Good morning,
reporters
God's
dig?
decision.
No.
And Bud Russell's in
Did
my
the
house.
Democrats
Good to see you, buddy.
protect the women? No, not at all. I think it all happened the way Biden went down. They covered up his brain. Then he blew himself
Paula,
up
I
at the debate,
completely
became
agree.
a liability, threatened all their
When it
seats,
comes to,
and the coup happened. Same thing here.
But
So,
class is the
The
sexier.
Democratic
Yeah.
machine is ruthless. They survive on blackmail, cover-ups, and coups. Now, Trump took on the Republican machine in 2016 and won. But
Blackmail.
so far, the Democrat
I have never had a
machine
letter that was black come
remains
in the mail, like the
unbeaten.
envelope being
And
black.
I'm not saying Swalwell's a victim.
Is that a thing?
He did this to he put the gun to his head, but the Democrat Party
Pulled the trigger.
How do you see that, Harold?
Well, first, it's good to be with you. The allegations against him are so serious and vicious.
It's massively huge. He's in so
denied
much
the
trouble.
allegations. He'll have an opportunity to defend himself. But you said it yesterday. These things just keep coming.
I think he's going to take a plea deal.
On the
I think
Democrat
he's
thing.
going to take a plea
I
deal.
think that's the wrong question to be asking. I wouldn't ask, did the Republicans, how long did they know about Gonzalez? Or how long do they know about Corey Mills and the things that he's been accused of, women saying that he assaulted them? I don't think anybody in Congress was enabling this. And if they were, they'll have to answer these questions if it comes up in some proceeding where they find information to that effect. This is not a good day for the Congress.
No,
It's an
all around
institution
it's a
that
bad day for
has
Congress.
failed to do its
Whether
job
they're
over the last year.
Democrat
So it's been
or
more
Republican.
associated with government shutdowns and defaults on our debt than it has been with getting things done and arriving at budgets and spending bills on time. And now you have this. Interestingly, the Gonzalez matter, and again, I just don't think this is the right question to be asking. But the Gonzalez matter, since we've asked it, he admitted to what happened with the young lady in his office. She apparently committed suicide, and no one had asked him to step. No one had moved to expel him. They kept him in. It's largely because of the politics. It was not until you had the situation with Swalwell, where now everybody wants Gonzalez out because you have you have an even number of people leaving. You got one Democrat, one Republican, so you don't upend or disrupt the majority in the Congress. We should ask
I
every member of
refreshed the
Congress,
page in
Republican
case
and
you
Democrat
guys were
side,
having
was that
problems
ever
with
in your
lagging or
calculus? 'Cause
anything.
that, to me,
I like to do
is
that
as
every
vicious
once in a
and
while.
as serious as the allegations are. If these people knew these things, as vicious and as serious as the allegations are against Swalwell.
He denies it, Kennedy, but you saw her, and well, the women who have spoken out publicly, it's hard for them to do so. What do you think it happens next?
Yeah,
Because
and
he resigns from Congress, but what she's describing
That
is
was
criminal.
yes,
yeah.
absolutely right. And Jimmy and I were talking about this on my podcast yesterday. What do you do with your life after this if you're Eric Swalwell? Because I
Your
assume when I
life
saw him
is,
in the
for all
first class
intents and
lounge and
purposes,
then
done.
in first class lie
And
flat
he deserves
beds
every bit of
flying
it.
with 4 other people from Newark to Los Angeles. I assume that the guy was rich. Little did I know that he was allegedly paying his illegal nanny with campaign funds in cash under the table.
What?
There's a
No
lot
way,
of dubious
dude.
stuff that has been
Oh,
swirling around him.
no.
And
Dubious is an
DC is the
understatement
most
by far.
gossipy place on the planet. Much more so than Hollywood, much more so than anything that I've seen in TV or film.
Oh, I think that's
or
pushing
music.
it, but
People
maybe.
thrive on gossip as currency, and they all knew about this. And Swalwell's big defense was always, well, if any of this were true, the MAGA people would have found out about it. Donald Trump would have found out about it, and they would have come after me. And these are just politically
Yeah, of course
motivated
they have
rumors.
to add
And he accused
Trump
the other
into
people
something,
in the
even though he
race
has nothing to
of
do with it.
ginning these things up and making up lies and potentially paying off women to come out and talk about him. But this had been, circling pretty publicly since December. That's a long time between then and now to keep him, this little golden party boy, as the front runner in your gubernatorial race in the biggest, most powerful state in the country. They absolutely knew. Both these things are possible at the same time. The Democratic establishment can be completely corrupt, and Eric Swalwell can be an alleged rapist.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with politics to an extent.
Understand their marks, right?
It has to do with a man's terrible choices.
The Democrats not think the Fang Fang thing was a tell?
But that's where Nancy Pelosi's defense is so laughable on its face.
Ooh,
because if you're ensnared
I didn't
in a
expect that to
honeypot
happen, but
program,
okay, here we are.
You get the same thing we got during COVID. It's called contact tracing. They don't go, this guy shagged a spy. Anyway, don't do it again. They go, who else was he texting? Who
The
else
spy
was he
who
emailing?
shagged
who
me?
else was he hanging out with? If I could just
That was
jog
a
your
movie.
memory 1 month. He was threatening to file legal action to deny the DOJ from releasing the files from that FBI investigation. Why? Because the contact tracing might have brought a lot of this stuff up to the surface. So there's 2 things that jump out at me. One is the shameless lying, because Gallego says, oh, I had no idea. It was my best friend. I had no idea. That's like Dr. Dre being like, Snoop Dogg smokes weed? Since when? Where have you been on this? So that's
a
laughable.
beautiful
And just
analogy.
as
I
a
love
small
it.
household, on a small scale, I'm blown away by what his data plan happened to be. You talk about him not having money. The amount of disgusting texts this guy was sending. I aspire to be in that tax bracket someday, but I hope to behave better when I get there.
On Snapchat, too.
On Snapchat.
And his wife is like, wait, you're 44 years old. There's no way you're on Snapchat. That's for teenagers. And he's like,
level of arrogance.
That's exactly why he was, is probably because of teenagers, theoretically.
He was a useful idiot until he no longer was.
That's right.
In the golden days of useful idiocy, you could open with your closer. You could send something as insanely forward as a picture of the governor, whatever you want to reduce this to. It's very Brett Favre of him, is what I'm trying to say. And guys only do that
he brings up the Brett Favre
situation.
situation. That's great.
All right. Those were the golden days.
They're over.
Coming up next, a blockade breakthrough. President Trump is teasing a new round of talks with Iran.
Stop talking. Start bombing them into submission. They're never going to agree. If they do, I would be so shocked.
Genius, can I get a financial plan? You got it.
No financial plan for you, sir. None. But
Your
we can
budget
get
and
past these
financial
stupid
plan
commercials, I think.
All right. Transfer $200 from my checking to my savings.
Oh, wait a minute.
What should I do this weekend? Any ideas?
How about brunch at Raffles, Morris's Rare Books and Comics, and a basketball game downtown?
Perfect.
Done.
Did I accidentally delete the Did I accidentally delete that
That's
out
my
of?
twin. She takes her meds every day, and I help make them.
Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I think I deleted the video out of OBS Studio. I'm not finding it. Where did it go? I know I copy and pasted the link.
who I'm not mourning his death, right, a very bad person, he did have a fatwa in place that said no development of nuclear weapons. The problem is his now second eldest son, Ali Khamenei, doesn't believe in that fatwa.
Donald Trump also told the demented lie in attacking the Pope that Iran wants to, quote, exterminate the world.
Well, Dana, I got to give him credit.
Yeah, I know they are.
Honesty.
Hold on a minute, let me fix this.
Decide who they want to win, Iran.
Yeah, my cats are absolutely outstanding, and they are pettable.
Yes.
Nymeria, she's got like the thickest fur, and she eats these snacks called Temptations.
And transfer $300 from my savings.
A friend of mine bought me a massive box of them for my cat. This is 30 ounces of catnip laced. And Nymeria's hooked on it. It's like one of those drugs out there. She can't stop eating them, and I think that's why she's gotten so big. But her sister can't. She won't touch them.
Eric Swalwell officially resigning from Congress as he gets hit with
Let me ask you guys a question.
Adding to a growing list of sexual assault claims. Some accusers are speaking out on.
Did you guys see this part of the video? Sharon, Angela, Paula, everybody. Did you guys see the first part of this? Yeah, my cat loves them, Eric. It's really weird because her sister, Lucy Lou, she won't touch them. It's like if you put them in front of her, she shies away. But if you give my two cats catnip together, oh, it's a party up in this house. They're crawling in the cat. You know what I'm gonna do? I got their catnip in the house somewhere. Next time I get the catnip out, when I find it, I am going to record it. Oh, and they haven't had catnip in a super long time, except for whatever nip might be in there. But Nymeria has not had it. Or no, Nymeria's been eating these snacks, but her sister Lucy hasn't been. But oh my gosh, if you get the two of them together, they go nuts over the catnip. It's a party in the house.
Including a woman who says Eric Swalwell drugged and raped her when she was working as a model in LA in 2018.
Oh, you guys did see this part? Okay.
I believe he drugged my drink.
She apparently committed suicide, and no one had asked him to step. No one had.
His illegal nanny with campaign funds in Qatar.
Who's this? Stop the press. Hold on. Don't worry, it's going to be worth the wait. I got something for all y'all. And get the puke emojis out, Angela. Angela, we're going to go to town with puke emojis because Jessica Tarlov is fixing to speak. She is the Democrat person out of the five. She's the balance. She's the counterbalance or whatever. And nobody likes her politics. So here we go. Oh, wait, no, it's already there. Here we go. Fork on plate. All right, here we go. Give me just about 10 seconds. Okay, 15 seconds. Add another 5, make it 20 seconds, just to be safe. It's better safe than sorry. Okay, here we go. Paste. This is gonna be fun. Hey, what happened? Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Get back to the right one here. Mute the computer screen because I'm not ready to mess with your guys' eardrums quite yet, but we're almost there. Okay. Almost there. Almost there. Almost there.
Her and well, the women who have spoken out publicly, it's hard for them to do so. What do you think it happens next? Yeah.
This is our chosen sound for Jessica Tarlov. We'll get back to her in a second. Let's get back to the video at hand.
And he resigns from Congress, but what she's describing is criminal.
Yes, absolutely right. And Jimmy and I were talking about this on my podcast yesterday. What do you do with your life after this if you're Eric Swalwell? Because I assume when I saw him in the first class lounge and then in first class lie flat beds flying with 4 other people from Newark to Los Angeles, I assumed that the guy was rich. Little did I know that he was allegedly paying his illegal nanny with campaign funds in cash under the table. There's a lot of dubious stuff that has been swirling around him. And D.C. is the most gossipy place on the planet. Much more so than Hollywood, much more so than anything that I've seen in TV.
Dedicated to you, Jessica Tarlov.
People thrive on gossip as currency, and they all knew about this. And Swalwell's big defense was always, if any of this were true, the MAGA people would have found out about it. Donald Trump would have found out about it. And these are just motivated rumors. And he accused the other people in the race of ginning these things up and making up lies and, potentially paying off women to come out and talk about him. But this had been, circling pretty publicly since December. That's a long time between then and now to keep him, this little golden party boy, as the front runner in your gubernatorial race in the biggest, most powerful state in the country. They absolutely knew. Both these things are possible at the same time. The Democratic establishment can be completely corrupt, and Eric Swalwell can be an alleged rapist.
Oh, that's right. It's Kennedy, not Jessica. I'm sorry. Okay, that is enough. Okay.
At what point did the Democrats not think the Fang thing was a tell?
But that's where Nancy Pelosi's defense
I'm
is
sorry,
so
guys.
laughable
I didn't mean to blow your ears
because
out.
if you're ensnared in a honeypot probe, okay,
that's how all of us feel when Kennedy is talking. I kept saying Jessica. I didn't mean Jessica. I love Jessica.
Anyway,
She's awesome.
Again. They go, who else was he texting? Who else was he emailing? Who else was he hanging out with? If I could just jog your memory 1 month, he was threatening to file legal action to deny the DOJ from releasing the files from that FBI investigation.
Did they put her in prison?
Because the contact tracing might have brought a lot of this stuff up to the surface. So there's 2 things that jump out at me. One is the shameless lying, because Gallego says, oh, I had no idea. It was my best friend. I had no idea. That's like Dr. Dre being like, Snoop Dogg smokes weed? Since when? Where have you been on this? So that is laughable. And just as the head of a small household, on a small scale, I'm blown away by what his data plan happened to be. You talk about him not having money. The amount of disgusting texts this guy was sending. I aspire to be in that tax bracket someday, but I hope to behave better when I get there.
On Snapchat, too.
On Snapchat.
And his
of all places.
Like, wait, you're 44 years old. There's no way you're on Snapchat. That's for teenagers. And
the level of arrogance. She's making a brilliant point, because this
is a guy who
behaved.
I can like because I care, and I can. Okay, so as a woman, which I absolutely have no idea what's that about, since God only made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve or even Eva. So as a woman, ladies in the chat, I think most of my subscribers are of the female variety, since there's only 2 in the variety, male and female. What do you do with this? What if your old man or your boyfriend or whatever, you busted your boyfriend or your husband doing it? What do you do? I'm just curious. I mean, a lot of people would be like, well, let's forgive him and give him another chance. I'd be like, okay, I listen, I forgave my previous spouse 3 times. So what do you do with this? As a wife, as a girlfriend, what do you do when you find information about your specific other in your life doing this? Like, what do you do? Let's talk about it.
A useful idiot until he no longer was. But in the golden days of useful idiocy, you could open with your closer. You could send something as insanely forward as a picture of the governor, whatever you want to reduce this to. It's very Brett Favre of him, is what I'm trying to say. And guys only do that because they probably have a habit of doing it successfully.
All right. Those were the golden days.
Well, that makes sense.
They're over.
Coming
Those were
up
the
next
golden
at
days.
Blockade Breakthrough, President Trump is teasing a new round of talks with Iran.
Angela's getting the shears out.
Never break the 3-second rule. Never do.
Well, that's
that.
Let me see if I can get past this.
Be
Well, that's your husband, right? He doesn't need to be showing his junk to everybody in the world. That is a private thing for your wife, or, people date, I get that, or your girlfriend. That is not supposed to be shown to anybody else. That is part of the trust within intimacy. That is something that two people that are in love, preferably married, share with each other. That love that goes beyond. So basically, you got two things. You got sex, which is just sex. Then there's making love, which is sex with emotional intimacy built into it. So one, you got the plain old. The other, you got sex with emotion. That's called making love, if you're really making love. Now, there is a thin line. Take this onion, for example. There's a thin line between love and lust. And that's one problem with young people. They don't know the difference. They think lust is love and love is lust. Unless you get a very rare situation where they all parties, both of you understand what love really is, and love goes beyond the bedroom and the kitchen. Love is something that is supposed to be eternal between the two of you. If you keep God at the center of your relationship, think of our star, the sun, our star, as the Greeks would call it, I believe it's the Greeks, soul. We are known as the soul system. So if you take your spouse and or your significant other and you put God in the center of your relationship, the two of you, let me pause this because this is a teachable moment and I'm taking it. If you put God as a star with a gravitational pull on the planets, that it is the parent star to the host star, you and your significant other rotate around the Lord. You rotate around Jesus. He is the center of your relationship. And as long as you're serving God and loving one another, you'll stay in orbit with the Lord. The two of you together, when you have bambinos, they also become moons. If you're the planets, your grandchildren, or not your grandchildren, your children, they are moons that orbit around you and your husband, women. And as long as you, as the parents and the couple that love each other, that are rotating in Jesus around him, as long as you keep sin out of your marriage or out of even the individual life as best as you can. Listen, I know we're not perfect. I wasn't born tomorrow. I'm pretty smart today. And so if you could stay in orbit of Christ, but what happens is things like what this man's doing by sending pictures of his junk to the planet, all of a sudden your orbit becomes wobbly and unstable. And now that one of you in the marriage or relationship is unstable with the Lord, it begins to have a gravitational effect on the other person, your spouse or your girlfriend. And then it can affect your children. Next thing you know, you become a rogue planet. You let the devil come into your marriage. All of a sudden, one of you spins away from the parent star, which is Jesus. And you're no longer in orbit of Christ. And your grandkids are affected. And your regular bambinos are affected. And the next thing you know, you got one person holding on to the gospel, holding on to the precepts and the principles and the precepts of God. And now it's just one person, and maybe the kids too, the moons. All of a sudden, here comes discouragement and depression and anxiety. I don't care how strong you are as a Christian. You're going to fight against these things when disasters happen. Been there, done that, produced a t-shirt. And the next thing you know, if you're not careful, because this is what I did, if you're not careful, you will also be spun off into the universe and become what is known as a rogue planet in astronomy. And you will drift through darkness until and if you come back to the Lord. Don't become in an unstable orbit with Jesus. There's mercy, there's grace, there's repentance, there's Luke 15, the prodigal son or daughter. I know what that's like. I let that depression and that discouragement from a failed marriage from my loved one. She gave me 4 beautiful bambinos, and I can talk to her just fine now. But that love's not there anymore. I love her for the children she gave me because they are absolute close to perfection, although they're human. My easiest part of my adult life by far has been my kids, by far. Okay, so that's a quick little Bible study. So see, right here at Mike Striver Ministries, we cover all the bases, including home plate with a grand slam. All right, punch it, Chewy. Chewy, sound. There we go.
And 47, telling the Post,
all right, I got to get this food going because we're going fishing today.
JD Vance telling Brett Baer, our very own, how Iranian negotiators
oh, it's not always easy. Yeah, it takes work. It takes work, no doubt. Yeah.
And needed to go back to Tehran to get approval. Why?
But one of the problems is in unstable marriages, because they do sometimes. You're going to have good years and you're going to have bad years. But when you take the physical intimacy out between you and your spouse, that's not good. Men, don't be a jerk. Women, be careful if you cut them off. Vice versa. Men, don't be a jerk. Men, don't cut your wife off because you're fighting. Don't allow that temptation to come into that marriage, because when temptation comes in, that's why Paul said, this is Bible. This isn't Mike 101. I'd let you know if it was Mike 101. The Bible says, the Bible, not me, the Bible. It says it is better for a man to marry than to burn in his passion or his lust. I know what that scripture says, but it's very difficult. Marriages, it can be. But the love you have for one another, not the lust, but the love, should be able to win the day eventually. Amen.
Watch.
Really, the ball is very much in their court. The only thing the Iranians have been able to do, they haven't, of course, beaten us militarily. They've had their military been decimated. They haven't been able to prosecute the case when it comes to weapons of war. What they have done is engage in this act of economic terrorism against the entire world. The President of the United States showed 2 can play at that game.
And how's this for a petty twist? Democrats and the liberal media sound like they'd rather see Iran come out ahead just so Trump doesn't score a win.
They
I really don't want to see either Netanyahu or Donald Trump politically strengthened by this war, because they are 2 awful human beings. And so I really find myself torn.
And now deceased Supreme Leader, who I'm not mourning his death, right? A very bad person. He did have a fatwa in place that said no development of nuclear weapons. The problem is his now second eldest son, Ali Khamenei, doesn't believe in that fatwa.
Donald Trump also told the demented lie in attacking the Pope that Iran.
I got to say something because I think it's really sweet. Bud Russell says this. Our buddy Bud, my buddy Bud, said, I've been married for 36 years. I lasted 15. We lasted 15. So Bud says, I've been married 36 years. I still love to lust after my wife. Yes, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, then Bud goes on to say, oh, soul is Spanish. That's right, Paula. Thank you for the correction. See, I can be corrected. It's happened before. Amen. And then Bud goes on to say, my wife, he says, my wife is my best friend. And that is absolutely fascinating. You don't hear a lot about that from men anymore. Grandkids are correct. Yep. And Paula, you have 2 adult daughters and 0 grandkids. You know, Paula, I didn't have grandkids until my 23-year-old got pregnant again because she lost her first one 2 months into the pregnancy. Then a year later, not even a year later, finally, I thought I was going to the grave without a grandkid from my oldest kid. My daughter, Marissa, she is due in 3 weeks, a little bit more than 3 weeks. She's 31 and got pregnant. 31. She just had her birthday March 15th, so I reckon that makes her 31 now, yeah. Reckon. That's one of those Southern words from Louisiana. And so I'm so proud of my grandkids. So she's 31 and finally gets pregnant. There was only like a 1% chance that her husband's little swimmers were going to be able to puncture an egg. And the Lord made it happen. And now I'm going to be a grandfather again about 16 months after the last time I was first. Well, no, because the baby was lost at 2 months the first time. So that's still a grandbaby. I see that as a baby. So this is my 3rd grandchild, the 2nd to be born. I'm so happy. She is large. Her stomach is massive. I bet that baby's 9, 10, maybe 11 pounds. I got pictures. She said I could show everybody. I should find them and bring them up to you sometime. Okay, here we go, guys. Let's get back to it. Bud Russell, you are a credit to men everywhere.
Iran wants to, quote, exterminate the world.
Well, Dana, I got to give them credit for honesty. I mean, they really can't decide who they want to win, Iran or America.
It's like hard to say this, but I guess we're going to have to go with Iran.
Yeah. Oh well.
This one. Well, you know, now we know. We don't have to guess, and I guess that's fine. I thought that when the vice president revealed that the Iranians couldn't make a deal because they have to go back to Tehran, that's pretty interesting because it means that they probably don't have a way to communicate in a way that doesn't reveal the location because the Ayatollah, you know that guy you keep talking about. Maybe he was like, I'll just sit here and we have to do everything by pen and paper at this point. I feel like, you know, in reality shows, which I don't watch a ton of, but in reality shows where they just keep you hanging on, like, and if you stay around to after the next commercial break, then you might find out who did it. That's what I feel like. Then the next 2 days, there might be talks. I don't know. We just started the blockade. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of maneuvering going on. China is involved, et cetera. There's, again, as Greg Gutfeld would say, Dana, you're so intelligent because you're saying you don't know what's going to happen.
I know it's going to happen. Trump's going to get angry when it takes 3 days for the gay Ayatollah to say, this is no good or this is good. That's going to be so frustrating.
I think gayness is the least of his worries right now. I think breathing might be higher up on his list.
I think breathing should be his priority, no doubt.
What we're witnessing is weekend at Khomeini's, and it's not going well for either side. You know, it would be like if Kamala Harris were negotiating, because right now we have 2 sets of people we're negotiating with. The people in the room who don't have any power and the people who are terrified in Tehran who hate the United States so much, they would rather pull Iran down with the rest of the world. And if Kamala Harris were negotiating, we'd have like sober Kamala Harris where she would be able to explain everything. And then the rosé all day one who would be laughing and talking about falling out of a coconut tree. I do think that J.D. Vance has comported himself well. I hope
she's running down the word salad queen. Isn't that kind of odd for her? Huh.
Hope that the talks go well. I don't have any faith in Iran. I think that they are stubborn. I think that they are murderous. They are incredibly desperate, yet somehow they're not out of missiles. And that makes them more of a force than I think anyone had anticipated. I think the president and the Secretary of War thought that this would go as smoothly as the first Iranian incursion and the Venezuela bout did. And we're not seeing that. And to Dana's point, we don't know the terminus. I hope the next round of talks give us more confidence and bring us to a close.
I mean, you do see the light at the end of the tunnel. They have not attacked any of these destroyers in the Strait.
Yep.
Talks do seem to be moving in the right direction, and China does feel pressure. So you can kind of see this thing.
China is controlling the board,
this
most
does
likely.
Dovetail with the Dana theory that this is a sweeps week gambit aimed at the spring ratings book. I think it's good. I think it's very TV of us, and I agree. And since we're talking about TV, can we just acknowledge really quickly, Lawrence O'Donnell talks at all times like he's trying to hold in a fart. I know that's not very adult of me on a serious show of this stature. So when he says Iran.
That part was funny. Hi, Lambert.
Just let it go. You don't know everybody in this elevator. They'll be off at the next floor. But the Thomas Friedman thing, you have to admire the candor on some level. Okay, because he's flat out saying we're in a nuclear standoff for all intents and purposes. We don't want them to have a nuke. He concedes that's a problem, but says my own political preferences are more important than the existential threat we're dealing with. That's a level of self-absorption that I got to be honest with you. The people in Iran rooting for a settlement right now are not sitting in their caves in fear with their soul in a fetal position going, I just hope it doesn't happen under this Khomeini because he's a dirtbag. If we can get to the midterms, it's embarrassing, man.
Yeah, the market liked day 2 of the blockade, Harold, and it looks like the S&P's recovered all the losses since the beginning of the war.
So a couple of things. The market did. It recovered and continues to because it's believing there's going to be a second meeting and believes that we may find some resolution here. There are 2 goals we're trying to get. And I never liked differing with DP on anything, but I didn't think Vance was particularly effective yesterday. He said that they were inches away from an agreement, but he didn't believe the people in the room were able to settle on an agreement, and they met for 20.
Well, Trump wants every demand met, including the nuclear one. No nukes. We've even offered these jokers, if I remember correctly, and I think I do remember correctly, we offered them nuclear power. We would help them with it, but no enriched uranium for nukes. And they want that nuke. They don't want to give that up. But you can't have a bunch of psychopaths with nukes. It's a terrible thing enough to know that Russia has them, the United States has them, depending on who's running our country. It's absolutely dangerous. Yeah, so here we go, guys. Let's get back to it. Lambert, it is absolutely fantastic to see you. We are going fishing this afternoon. I believe so. And I'm taking you all with me right here on Mike Shriver Ministries. Punch it, Chewy. Oh, we got a lot. Oh, we got a rocket warning. Rockets are being launched. Angela Child of God is monitoring that. Are they being launched from, do you know if it's from Lebanon or if it's from Israel or Iran? And are they going toward our fleet? Let me know.
21 hours. This is a 6,000-year-old civilization that feels like their country and what they represent is facing and has an existential threat posed to them. They were not going to solve this in 21 hours. I thought there was progress made there, but I wouldn't have criticized the people that are in the room like you did, but maybe that's part of the strategy they have.
Unless we said you can have a nuke,
open up the Strait.
They would have shook hands and everything would be bad again.
The most important is to ensure that they cannot make a nuclear weapon and they can't threaten us or our allies in the region.
Could they buy one from Russia?
The blockade
Absolutely,
has been a success.
they could.
It's a success because we are depriving the Iranians of money. Now, it was reported today that a Chinese vessel got through and it had to come back through. I'm curious as we get some more reporting this evening from some of our reporters and other outlets to figure out what exactly happened there. I do hope that we, the United States, are not cherry picking or deciding who can get through, who cannot get through. It sets an awful precedent for commercial.
No, it didn't leave an Iranian port. That's why.
Right. So I think it sets. You're probably right, and I trust you. But my point is, this is a bad precedent to set in a commercially important piece of geography. And I hope if the White House and the Department of War are of this position, they need to share with the world and us what the real goal is here. But the blockade, in my estimation, the reason it's so important is that it's depriving them of money. And I'm hopeful that this will force them back to the table.
Up to $434 million a day.
Exactly, $500 million a
That's
day.
a big loss.
Finally,
big loss.
The losing the money is great. I don't think all Democrats are rooting for the Iranians. I'm a Democrat. I have a lot of friends who are Democrats. We want the United States to win. I think that what Tom Friedman, I didn't quite understand it fully, but I think he dislikes Trump so much he doesn't want this to be a victory for Trump. But I want America to win, and that means the president, who's our commander-in-chief, to win as well.
It's un-American, and
we are probably
it's a wonder these people are still in office on the left.
With an agreement between us and the Iranians that's going to look a lot closer to what Obama negotiated several years ago than not. I don't think the Obama deal was as bad as some people think. I won't go as far as my friend from the great senator from Virginia, Tim Kaine, who said it would be the worst. It's the worst thing ever. But I do think if we'll look back and wonder why we withdrew ourselves from that agreement, if indeed we have to agree to something very similar a few years later.
We'll see. I'm not so sure you're right. You're probably wrong.
I hope I'm not.
See.
I hope I'm not. But if I am right, I hope you say I'm right.
Okay. Yeah, if you're right, you're getting a lot. If you're right, they're getting a lot of cash in the mail, so that's good news for them.
Bud Russell's got a great point. Iran had a supersonic missile program so they could reach America. Yeah. The what is the Garcia base? What is the whole name of that again? Something Garcia. I don't know much Spanish. So we got a missile, or they got a missile. One of them went bunk over the ocean and crashed. You know, substandard merchandise, low IQ merchandise. And then the other one is shot down. It was able to get to our Garcia base 2,500 miles away from Iran. So obviously their technology is there, but they could hit anywhere in Europe. They could hit the little the Pol Pot guy, right? Is that North Korea? And then they could hit anywhere in that area. But their next goal, in fact, maybe even their primary goal, is not necessarily to hit Israel first, but knock the United States out. And then you take out Israel, but God will never allow that. I mean, we got to look at Bible prophecy, folks, us Christian folks. And even if you're not Christian, it's still going to happen. You can't stop it just because you're an atheist, which is fine. I welcome atheists here. I see you as an opportunity. Okay. You can't have a global thermonuclear war on the scale where you're going to annihilate humanity. You just can't. Bible prophecy would never be able to come true if you kill the human race. Even if you knock us back far enough into the Stone Age, you're not going to have the mark of the beast. You're not going to have the image of the beast that the false prophet gives life to, that it should kill you if you do not worship the image of the beast. There's not going to be a massive global thermonuclear war. Otherwise, Jesus would have never used the word world in the Greek, ionis, which means age. He says until the end of the world. That's mostly interpreted as the absolute end of the planet. It simply means the end of the age of human government and the setting up of Jesus Christ's, you might say, administration, right? Because he's God Almighty. He's a king, after all, for the 1,000 years worth of peace. And then the devil's released for a short season. Why in the world? I guess to tempt the nations one more time, and then he goes to the lake of fire on a permanent basis. Punch it, Chewie. Arr.
Right, but it means that and perhaps a few other things. We want 20 years. They want less than 10 is how long they will not enrich uranium.
Well, neither of those things is never, which is what the obligation was.
Right. But think about it. We're never going to.
I'm agreeing with you.
They're never going to not do it. They want a nuclear weapon. We've got to bring them into the Western world where they don't want to harm us and our friends. I don't mean to keep going.
It's okay, Harold. We love you. Coming up next, a shocking left-wing attack on a conservative journalist. Wow, look at that.
Todd's in the hospital.
From vaping. Promise you won't vape that much.
Not cool.
cancers, including lymphoma and skin, serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. See the event risk increases in age 50 plus with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events, infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
Do something different. Ask your doctor if switching to Rinvoq is right for you.
I started paying attention to gut health. When I saw how many different things it's linked to, people rely on me. The kids rely on me, my team at work relies on me. And having balanced gut health really leads me to help balance the rest of my life.
Well, I want freedom, but so much for protecting journalists. A mob of left-wing protesters viciously attacked Turning Point USA reporter Savannah Hernandez while she was out covering an anti-ICE protest in Minneapolis. Police arresting 3 of the attackers. Watch.
Oh, God. Hey, guys.
Can you hear me now? No? No? How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Nothing? Can you hear me now? No. Hear me now? Okay. All right. Okay, that's all good. Okay. Oh, you can hear me now? You can hear me now? Okay, cool. So, okay, now that you can hear me, what we're going to do is, I think I got figured out a way to get my fishing license, and then we're going to go down to Lake Misaki after I eat this scrumptious lunch inspired by my beautiful culinary chef daughter. We're going to go fishing this afternoon. It's going to be called the Mike Shriver Ministries, the Fisher of Men, becoming the Fisher of Fishes. I love to go fishing for fishes. And you know what? I have given more Bible studies down at the lake, just talking to people, you know, just getting to know them, fishing, getting the net, fishing. And yeah, so we're going to go fishing this afternoon. All right, guys, here we go with the same video.
To, you know, try and interview people, I came here to simply observe and no, out of my you don't know.
Ooh, oh, she just got nailed by 250 pounds of stupidity. Wow. Yeah, we're going to have a good time down there, Angela. It's fun.
No one should be in a position to have to defend themselves like that.
Did you see that?
Just simply trying to film and observe. Well, over in California, that could all be illegal. Exposing fraud could get you in very hot water. Nick
That's
Shirley
terrible.
is warning about a proposed bill there that would make it illegal to post a photo of personal
They do, Claire. It's beyond that.
On the internet.
I do believe their Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, has gone from demonic oppression, right? Oppression to demonic possession in many cases. But that's exactly how they act. Their mentality is so skewed. Their lookout on life, their perspective is absolutely bunk. They have checked out of reality, and now you have the demons running the hell of liberalism. You have the demons running the hell of their own liberalism. It's just ridiculous. Violence is all they understand. Why? Here's why. Here's why. Here's why. The fivefold ministry of the left. We got the fivefold ministry in the Word of God for the gospel. But there's also something I have dubbed the fivefold ministry of the liberal left. Pro-illegal immigration, pro-abortion, DEI, wokeism, and the LGBTQ, A through Z, alphabet community. And I don't hate the gays. I don't hate the lesbians. It's a whole alphabet. I could be here all day. We don't hate them. But by God, we're not going to agree with their lifestyle. And even if you did, it doesn't matter what a man or a woman thinks. It's what's right to God. That is his righteousness, not ours. The fivefold ministry of the left. Look for it in stores as soon as I get the not motivation, but the discipline to write it.
For harassment or violent purposes. So, Jesse, this is crazy because it's crazy people who have been activated and told that this is how they should behave when they are confronted with someone they might have a political disagreement with, someone whose words they might not agree with, that
they're
they
angry
then
people.
Feel justified turning into
violence. Angry people, and they don't know how to express themselves except through cussing and violence.
Maybe not looking for it, but they happen to be there. They're on the front lines, and the Democrat Party will protect its position. Yep. If you start asking questions about money, or like what Doge did, what they do, they burn cars down.
Yeah.
If you start looking around and knocking on doors, they're going to throw you in jail. I mean, look
word
what they
to
did
your
to
mother
Trump. They
even
tried to
mean?
put him in jail
I don't even know.
He was even elected. If you start sniffing around in the greatest welfare state in the world, California, where
absolutely.
the Palisades money went missing, the homeless money goes missing, the train money goes missing. All of this money is just
if it's money or coin, it goes missing.
People in powerful positions, and they're all dumb. Like, look at Karen Bass; she's an idiot.
Yeah, largemouth Bass. Yeah, largemouth Bass, Karen Bass.
In San Francisco, they're usually stupid
I might catch some largemouth today
too. The guy's out to lunch, and then you got Swalwell.
I can't keep them till June 1st, though.
To be a racket, so you can steal. And then if anybody comes in knocking, you throw them in prison. And until we throw them in prison, they're going to keep sucking all the cash out of the system. And it's going to be the corrupt state of California like it's always been.
Fraud is expensive. I guess that's my problem. And when government is expensive, they pass on the savings to taxpayers who have to pay higher taxes in order to fund some of the fraud, which, you know, they dress it up nicely. It's non-governmental organizations that are just out there helping. But really, you know, it's just grift. They're just stealing.
I'll wrap it afterwards.
It is. And unfortunately, we have to let the chips fall where the chips may fall, and we should look at this all across the country.
I like that Democrat. I think he's the best guy on there when it comes to the Democrats.
I don't know how I can say it. I agree. But Jesse and I are great pals, and I don't like when anybody. I think the president does it. They're Democrats to do it. You didn't mean to do it. When we call people idiots and stupid who are in public life,
Karen Bass.
But when you call people piggy and
low
IQ,
but look what they call us. So just stop, dude. Stop.
Do to a young lady like that who is out exercising her First Amendment rights. We all get in our little crouches when it's and defend from there when it's our position that's being attacked and say how wrong it is.
Well, of course we do. We have to defend what is right.
Democrat not to say that young lady, that young journalist there who was there to ask questions and perhaps had a motive or an agenda. But guess what? The First Amendment doesn't say your speech is protected if you only have an agenda that is pure or agreeable to the person who believes the question is a bad question or believes that your speech is not the right speech. That was wrong what happened to her. I don't think it's right to call people, and that's just me, and perhaps I'm just old-fashioned. I think we talk about all these things, how it bleeds into other things. This thing here in California, the Nick Shirley Act, think about the ICE officers were wearing masks and they didn't want to have their names. And I thought they were right to do that. I don't think you should be able to publish public servants' names online for the purpose that some people may want that they might be publishing these things for. Maybe we need to find a
They
better
would
balance.
take the lives of those ICE agents, and they would take the lives of their families if their names got out, if their faces got out.
It's easy for someone to say that guy's bad because they took on a TV
They have a
USA
spirit
journalist.
of
That guy's
murder.
bad because they took on someone who supports
Big
Nazis.
time.
What they did, that young lady, was terrible. And every Democrat should stand up and say it. And every Republican should also be able to say when somebody says something that's wrong about a Democrat, that they, even if they don't like the Democrat, they have to say it's wrong too. Otherwise, this thing is going to get worse and worse and worse.
I have to be able to call people names, Harold. I'm on
Thank God
television.
for the
Yes, thank you.
Thank God for the Second Amendment. What would we do without the Second Amendment?
I mean, Harold is right.
Look at our
Having
poor
said that,
friends in the
Karen
UK.
Bass
They
is
don't
a
have a
contempt
Second
of
Amendment
dingbat.
in case it came down to it. It's terrible.
So, but Dana,
See you
it
later,
really
God's
looks like
decision.
this California Assembly bill is geared up to punish journalists. And, you know, they're trying to make a differentiation between, you know, establishment journalists and citizen journalists. But, you know, in this day and age,
I'll take that as a compliment, dude.
Clear
I'll
defining
take that as a
Well, the
compliment.
California bill is basically pretty phenomenal. Instead of saving taxpayer dollars by cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, they want to figure out a way to protect anyone trying to expose not protect the people trying to expose waste, fraud, and abuse. It's the same in Minnesota, and I like your point that they will protect themselves when you start looking at the money. But every city.
Are you kidding me? Wow, check that out. Bud says here that California has the highest deficit. The highest deficit. They receive $174.5 billion in federal aid last year. And what did they do with that federal aid? Why is there still poop? We need a human pooper scooper for human poop to scoop the human poop. And we need all sorts of things in California. Why is there homeless out of control? Why are they not getting the help that they need?
Especially blue cities. If you are worried about your wealthier citizens fleeing your state for another place, you should want to deal with the waste, fraud, and abuse in your own places. In 2032, they are looking at a very different electoral map. We won't have to worry about the blue wall anymore because it won't be a problem.
I don't think we will either.
Not
I
that
think
many
that's
people are
going to
going to be living
eliminated.
there. Other places are going to get those numbers. So that in order
Minnesota
to get to,
is becoming the new
is it
California. I think that's
432?
obvious.
How many numbers do we need to win the presidency?
270?
270. In order to get to 270,
530.
it's not going
I
to be
love
the same
perch
map
too,
after
Pat,
that
Paula.
census,
I can't
think,
get
because you
big
have so many
perch in my
people
lake.
leaving
There are
those
so
cities.
many
Also, I
northern
just want to say,
pike.
I'm
They don't
really
grow.
glad that the people got arrested, and I hope that they are prosecuted. And especially like the man pushing her. Okay, that's one's pretty obvious. The whistle in her ear, that could possibly do permanent damage to somebody.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to do. I mean, they were doing that in Portland during the George Floyd protests with the U.S. Marshals who were guarding the federal courthouse. Many of them were blinded. Right.
That
with
woman,
the laser pointers that they were shining
that woman
in their
needs
eyes,
to be
and then
arrested.
magically, and
That whistle in the
what has
ear.
become a hellhole. Those people
We
were
should be
not
able to get a
charged.
facial
They were
recognition
also waving marital
on
aids
that.
in her
Look at
face,
that.
Jimmy, and I
Look
thought
at
that was an
that.
affront to society.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You have those on the left that support the fivefold ministry of the left, which is anti-God. And I know we're not perfect. It's not about being perfect. But they support all that. Their anger is so pent up inside their heart that they're being angry. And so the scripture that says, be angry and sin not, does not apply to the left. They are beyond angry. And they're allowing that hate to go from something simple as speech, which words can be damaging. They're going into violent mode. I would be curious to know that psychopath's mental health history. And I can almost guarantee you that everybody here that is acting violently has been treated violently and or they are abusers of their spouses. And yes, even men can go through abuse. Been there, done that. I got a t-shirt. It's awful. Their anger is so pent up. Now, the Bible says, be angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down on your wrath. It's okay to be angry. It's a human emotion. It can protect you. But when you start turning it into violence, then there's a problem. You're so angry inside. You want to take it out on a woman. What? Who does that? That's your wife, dude. That's your girlfriend. California is the capital of mental health illness. And really, it's sad because there are people that have the potential, but they don't want to live up to the goodness of their potential. Let's continue.
Happy with it. Can we just acknowledge this California law is an admission of guilt? It is an admission of guilt. If Jenny says to me, hey, I want to go over the credit card statement, and I go, I'm passing a law, actually, that you can't go over the statement. Best case scenario, there's a charge from Hooters.
We're going to pass a law that says wives cannot go over the statements of your husband's usage of the credit card.
Like, when I was in school, kids who were ambitious, you knew they were ambitious because of what they wanted to do. They were like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. Kids my son age now, they're like, I want to run a daycare in Minneapolis. That's how you know the grift is on.
That's pretty funny.
I've never met a kid up until about a month ago who wanted to run a hospice in California.
Listen, I would love to have a Mike Shriver Ministries Leering Center.
I don't mind. I want them to.
I guess we kind of do, right? Not in the
everything, but don't put the people's
chicken
names
blood.
in
That's
their
no fun.
Just say what the secretary of that agency, whoever that person is, say that person's responsible for this grift and corruption and fraud and whatever it may be. But I didn't like when they went after those school board members in Tennessee and other places during COVID. I just don't like it when public officials, you vote them out. You don't shoot them. You don't kill them. You don't harm them. And I think that's what we run up against.
Well, unfortunately, though, in California, it's ballot measures. It's not necessarily what is passed by the assembly. It's, this is very insidious.
Right, so voters actually directly said they wanted that spending, which is, I think, even more curious.
Oh, so now you're using they were asking for it defense. All right, coming up, does Joe Biden have Veep regrets about Kamala? Find out next.
You're serious, man.
This is going to be good.
I actually drive better when I'm on it.
Does he remember?
It just helps me focus. It just helps me focus, you know?
Not this time. Was that his date last night? Oh, maybe it's not his date last night. Oh.
Ask your urologist about UroLift today.
Guess who's having a little Veep?
Hello, can I help you?
According to the Atlantic,
can I help you?
Joe Biden
What you doing with my pretty kitty?
To be his vice president.
Oh, puke.
Had to choose
yeah,
Kamala,
that's
saying he was pushed to her after the Black Lives Matter protests. Well, fast forward to now, and the Dems are panicking at the idea of Kamala 2028 humiliating
yeah, we
the
don't
party
need that.
Again.
They don't need that, but we do, so we can win easier. Bill.
I'd like to see Kamala Harris maybe put her hat back in the ring for governor.
Puke.
Governor of California.
But that helps
I know
us.
That she's talked about being president. I don't know if that's the right position for her.
How about it?
Wow, that hurts.
The obvious here. Okay, Biden wanted Gretchen Whitmer. BLM forced Kamala on him. But they can take advantage now and just tell him he had Gretchen Whitmer and it went great, can't they?
Yes.
Can't they make this go away?
A lot of the Democrat media establishment would probably go along with the narrative.
Yep.
And they would probably indulge the fairy tale. Kamala Harris is, she is unliked by her fellow Democrats now. Mm-hmm. So many of them have done whatever they can to try and distance the party from the failure of the 2024 campaign. California doesn't want
Is she a beautiful
her.
beast?
She
Look
was
at
the
the
one who said
beautiness
she
on her.
didn't
She's
want
just
to
so
run for
awesome.
governor of California because the system is broken. The system of which she is a product.
Yes.
The system as vice president that she helped codify.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here, I got to
but
get that
the
window back
state
open
is in
for her.
such a
Come
bad
on.
state. I actually would love for her to run because I think Steve Hilton would absolutely trounce her,
Crush her.
on a debate stage. Yes.
Amen. Harold, are you concerned that this is a slight, Harold, to Katie Porter, who's currently on the
Katy
ticket?
Perry.
Okay.
Katy
And
Perry's
she's
on the
not
ticket?
exactly the best with the staff. This isn't going to lower tensions on the set the next time somebody walks into Katie Porter.
Side note, speaking of Katy Perry, her parents are her dad's a Christian pastor, and she chose to do pop instead of Christian music. And I wish she would have went the Christian music route, but you know, everyone's got their own destiny apparently. So
Sod. The View might have
them
just
birdies?
caused harm.
You see
Are you
those
concerned?
birdies?
Do you call for The View to stand down before somebody gets hit by a pot of boiling mashed potatoes?
They should keep talking.
Where's your daddy's girl?
I'd say a couple things. It's Gretchen Whitmer. I read this story and I thought we were saying that
I can't stand her. She's our governor.
He wished that Whitmer had been at the top of the ticket.
The only good
this
thing she
last
did,
go
she
round
got
and
our
not
car
comment. He
insurance
was saying he
prices
wished
to
he'd
come
done.
down
I
big
think
time.
it
So
just
I
goes
will
to
give
show
credit
she
where it's
remains,
due.
That Gretchen Whitmer is very relevant. She's a force in the party. I think her and Shapiro and
Wow, that's
Bashir
pretty sad to
are
say
names
then.
that Democrats
They
need to
must be
focus on
desperate.
even more, begin to help get their voices out because they're outcome oriented, they're smart, they're pragmatic. You know, you talk to a lot of candidates after they lose a race, and the amazing thing is that Biden actually won the race in 2020 with Kamala, so she didn't drag him down there. She turned out not to be a great presidential candidate under the circumstances. But you talk to John McCain. John McCain, before he passed, God rest his soul, said, you know, I wished I had not picked Sarah Palin. I wish I picked Tom Ridge.
Yeah.
You can find those who lose who often say they wish they'd picked someone else. It's unusual to find somebody who actually won the race saying.
But that's how you know she sucks, Harold.
Which is
He
the point.
won and regretted it.
And the fact that Sunny Hostin is now saying she should run for governor.
And
I
endorsed
think-
her.
I think it shows a lot where some of the media is, particularly the left-leaning media, is on her in this next presidential race. She's got a lot of minds to convince.
But this is where it's a fool's errand, Dana, and you remember this. When she ran in 2020, she dropped out before the primaries because she was polling at 1% in California. She was polling behind my
I
milk
remember that.
in California.
She was the
So
first
this idea
one
that
out of the
there's any market
primaries
for her right now
for the
is so
president or vice presidency.
It makes sense that Joe Biden would have initially wanted Whitmer because she's in Michigan. That's a purple state. He didn't need to win California. He was going to win California.
Yeah.
So that just logically makes sense. And then also, the former Biden official basically was like, yeah, we're not going to comment on this, which makes you think it is also true. They're not trying to help Kamala Harris. We might just have to ask Dr. Jill Biden when she goes out on her book tour who she really wanted. We know she didn't want Kamala.
Jezebel
so
Jill
Big Gretch.
is
But the
her
problem
name.
For Gretchen now is I feel like because
And there's a
Trump
reason why
won
we
her
call her
state,
Jezebel
she's
Jill.
more constrained in what she can do. She's not out there on Hassan Piker's show, right? For example, right?
At least there's one.
But the base of the party wants younger, brasher, fresher, and she can be funny.
So in other words,
but I
they don't
think
want
that's where the
wisdom
energy of the party is.
because the
No,
older
and I
we
think,
get,
Jesse, you
we're
know
supposed
this
to
'cause
be
you cover this stuff
wiser.
every night. She's actually just as cringy as Kamala.
That's why
with her
even
Dorito
at
videos.
50,
Have you ever seen her rap Llama
one,
Llama Red Pajama?
I still
Those
take
poor
the
kids.
advice
Like,
of
I
some
actually
older
don't think she
people.
would have aged any better
I have to
than
make the
Kamala.
final
I
decisions,
just
of
think it was
course,
Biden
but
being beaten down by the
there's
the
safety
stampede
in
of
a
BLM
multitude
in
of
that summer. He was a
counselors.
prisoner of the moment. You didn't think beyond it.
You nailed it. The headline is Biden's afraid of the blacks.
Yeah.
That's what you think the headline is?
Well, he's a racist. He always had been.
Blacks
Look
were
at his
burning
record.
things down, and Biden said, okay, I'll put a black person on the ticket.
Yeah.
That's the headline,
Ketanji
Harold,
Jackson Brown
is that
as
Biden
well.
Is that week he gets scared of black people burning stuff in the cities. Now imagine Trump. You could never bully Trump into doing anything. Like, you tell Trump not to do stuff, and he'll do it just because you told him not to. You'd be like, don't pick her, and he'd be like, oh, I'm picking her. Oh no, like that's the difference between these guys.
Fair. Now, all I need to know to fact check your statement about Biden being afraid of the blacks is whether it preceded his Charlemagne interview where he said, if you have a problem figuring out if you're from me or Trump, then you ain't black. So there was a point where he wasn't scared.
That's right.
Maybe that
Oh,
predates
that was
moment.
funny.
I don't know, but we'll watch the replay.
I
during the
love
break.
politics. I don't know how people don't like it. I don't get it. I love Christianity. I don't get it. How do they not like it? Oh, wait. Because in Christianity, that means you got to start changing things in your life.
Success. Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids.
With Christianity, God begins to take things out of your life he does not want, right? He's exiting all that stuff out of our life. That's if we're submissive to him. And then he starts putting all these things in that he wants us to have in us. Love, patience, mercy, long-suffering. A heart that wants to worship its creator, and all humanity is longing for its creator. Why do you think when you get an atheist or even a backslidden Christian on their deathbed, who do they call for besides mommy? They call out to God. Oh, God, no. Oh, God, help me. It's going to get... I've been a rebel, a contentious pain in the backside of all of humanity for the last 90 years, and now I'm 2 minutes from eternity. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. We always call on our Creator because all of humanity is in search of our Creator, and we found him, Jesus Christ, the one true God. And then it's a matter of wanting to change. We got to want to change. You got to have the yant to, as somebody once said in Brooklyn.
The #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
That's my twin. She takes her meds every day.
Well, you're supposed to. Hello.
I help make them.
All right, this Joker's got to go in the oven.
Welcome back. Advice columnist for the New York Post getting asked, quote, "My fiance proposed, but I hate the ring. Can I give it back?" And Grandma Gail, she's not having it. Watch this.
Are you kidding me? Just be quiet and accept the ring and say thank you. It's beautiful. This whole thing is like the weddings, the bachelor parties, the destinations, the ring. That's not what marriage is about.
Oh.
That's
Jimmy,
right.
You had a reaction to that?
I'm not a materialistic guy, but I do think she should be able to give back the ring. Marriage is a sacred institution. Odds are you're only going to do it
Some
twice.
say it's a mental institution.
You got to get it right.
It's hard for
Some
me to
say
believe
it's
you're
a
not
mental
materialistic guy when
institution.
you wear a jacket with fake pockets.
It does. Perino got me on that one.
I got married in my great-grandmother's gold wedding band. And years later, I put it in a very safe place, and I cannot find that safe place, but I'm sure it's in a safe place. No, I think that I agree with Grandma.
Kennedy, you've got something to show.
No, I absolutely love my ring. I think that my beloved sexy teenage boyfriend did a great job. I would, even if it was ugly, I would not have given it back.
Wow, you don't hear about that very often. Older women wanting way younger men.
To love the same foods and travel, and the rest will follow.
Amen.
Yep.
But to each its own, though.
You can give the ring back, but if you do, he gets to sleep with
brown
the
sugar. Oh,
Those
smack.
are the rules. I
Jesse.
didn't make the rules. Those are the rules.
One more
Not
rule.
a good
Never
rule.
buy a
Not a
used
good one.
laptop off Jesse Waters.
That's a great rule, though.
We've got to get back
theoretically.
We got to get back to reading the Bible. One more thing.
That's funny. Huh.
Did you hear?
Okay, I think this is over anyway.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping.
From vaping.
Cool.
Not cool.
Like, no way, dude.
I promise you
Not
won't
cool.
vape, Emma. It can.
All right. So, Kennedy is kidding. Kennedy is she's an interesting individual. She's more of a centrist, but I'm feeling more liberal from her than anything else. I think that I got to fix my flag. It's sagging. Sagging comes with getting older. I notice my stomach is practically to the tips of my toes. Wait a minute. That means I would have lost all this weight. So that would probably be a good thing because Stay Puft Marshmallow Man has got nothing on me. Stay Puft. Yeah. Say that twice really fast. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man has nothing on me. It's one of those, I sat on a rainbow and Skittles popped out, or you stand on the scale, it flashes one at a time, please. It also said to me the other day, you've got a broken back, Mike. Now that you're standing on me, I do too. So will you please move? Hi, kitty kitty. What you do? Who's a good girl? Who's a good baby? Who's my good kitty? Meow. Okay. Chillax. If it was just you and me, you'd let me hold you like that. And you wouldn't even say a word. But your audience is watching you. They love you. Look. Say hi to. Oh, look how gorgeous she is. Beautiful. She got a big old tongue. Don't mind my kitchen. I got stuff in here still from when my mom was alive. No, it's not that bad. Not that my mom was a bad thing. It's just that she had a whole bunch of stuff we didn't need, like tons of it. Okay, but anyway, it was her stuff. Now it's mine, but I miss her. I would gladly give it all back to have my mom back for a day or two. Hey, Paddington, you were here yesterday. How you doing, Paddington? Have you spoke to Paddington Bear lately? He is a friend of the channel, and so is Eeyore. Eeyore is one of the best Winnie the Pooh characters. But Winnie the Pooh, I believe, is a illegal substance dealer within the 7 Acre Wood. Is it 7 Acre Wood? Or is it 10 acres, 12 acres? I think Winnie the Pooh will probably get arrested. Yeah, isn't Nymeria beautiful? She's a gorgeous cat. I got a ton of pictures. I really ought to put them up, and I got to go put Angela Child of God's songs that she writes and then adds music to them, or them to music. I'm going to put them up on Discord, but I think I can figure out how to do it on OBS because I'm always on OBS. So, but I can also put them on Discord as well. So, okay, here's what's going to happen, honey. No. I think he's got a little group there, guys. My theory is this. It's a theory, though. I can't back it with facts. It's 100 Acre Wood. That's right. You know that cartoon Pooh's Grand Adventure came out in 1995. That was my daughter's first, my oldest, because I got 5 Bambinos, all Immaculate Conception. I had nothing to do with them. It was Joseph to Mary. That's what I was. And so, yeah, that movie, my little girl grew up on that. And it's always going to be a precious movie in my sight because it reminds me of my youngest. And she's pregnant now with her first Bambino at 31 years old. I said, come on, girl, you got about 14 years before menopause. Keep on pushing them babies out. That means, computer, if I was a woman, how many babies could I have in a 14-year period of time? Oh, gosh, of course it is. Well, I could figure it out. Computer, shut up. You're just being liberal. But I think that Winnie the Pooh is an illegal substance dealer. I do believe that... Computer, I said stop. Now you listen. There's not much difference between that and a child that doesn't want to listen. There really isn't. She's got her uses. That's why I keep her around. She's not human, so, it fits. Okay, here's the thing. I firmly believe Paula McDonald. I believe that Winnie the Pooh is a kingpin, if you will. He is a substance dealer and has made his fortune peddling honey. His honey business is a laundering business. So he's laundering his funds through his honey business. And I do believe that Tigger, the wonderful thing about Tigger, is Tigger's a wonderful thing. A bouncy, 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 a bouncy, bouncy thing. Tigger is what Jesse was to Mr. What's-his-face in Breaking Bad. What was his name? It was Mr. Whatever his name was in Breaking Bad. I haven't watched it in quite a while. So you got Winnie the Pooh. He's the kingpin. Tigger is the drug dealer. He really is. He is so wasted on it all the time. That's why he's bouncing off the walls. You have Rabbit, the rabbit guy, right? Rabbit. He's the one that's planting all of it. He harvests it. He plants it. Whatever a rabbit sows, that shall he harvest. I believe that Eeyore is the quiet muscle. Eeyore is the quiet muscle. Amen. Who do we got left? Oh, Piglet. Oh, Piglet. You're such a good friend, Piglet. Piglet is the sidekick. Walter. His name was Walt in Breaking Bad. Walt. You know what? I was just going there with that, Paula. The owl. He is the brains behind the operation. Cranberry Bobbin, Christopher Robin. Well, he's purchasing the goods. So there you have it. I think we covered everybody. We got Tigger, we got Winnie, we got Piglet, we got the muscle, Eeyore. We got the wonderful thing about Tigger is Tigger's a wonderful thing. A bouncy, 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 just like a spring. He is the peddler. Piglet's the narc. That's beautiful, Bud Russell. Now, I came up with this theory about 25 years ago. And at least once or twice a year, I'm trying to think, how in the world does this work in the 100-acre wood? It's interesting. But I do believe that Winnie the Pooh is the most wanted bear in the entire 100-acre wood. He's an absolute threat and a menace to society, and he needs to be stopped. Well, guys, that's it for right now. Oh, wait, yeah, we got Kangaroo. Yeah, Kanga and Roo. Huh. Hitmen and women. A hitman and hitwoman. They're the muscle that works with Eeyore. Eeyore's really slow, right? But he's powerful. But Kanga and Roo, they can catch up to people really quick. And Eeyore is the interrogator. Eeyore will tie them in a chair, and if they're not, if they're not being cooperative, neckties come into mind. Eeyore will pound them because he is the muscle. Kanga and Roo are the kidnappers. We have a whole thing called Baby Assassin. Oh, that's brilliant. So we got a whole thing going. See, here at Mike Shriver Ministries, we don't support all that, but we know what's going on in the 100-acre wood. Don't let it deceive. On the surface, it's an innocent kid's cartoon. When the cameras are off, it's a whole new 100-acre wood. Now, this is all theory and speculation. These are allegations. These aren't proven in the court of law. But I am determined. I will get that Pooh Bear. Now, Paddington Bear is a whole nother story. Paddington Bear is the competition to Winnie the Pooh Bear. Now, I think Smokey comes into play somewhere. Don't be cool, stay in school. Oh, wait, that's Nancy Reagan. Okay, sorry, I got mixed up. Politics. Hi, what's this? What is that? What is that? What's this? What is that? Huh? What is that? I love my cats. So yeah, I think I got something. I think there's something going on in the 100-acre wood. I don't like it. You probably don't like it. Paddington Bear is behind any of the problems when it comes to violence within the 100-acre wood. He wants to take it over. And he's British. No offense to my British fans in here. I think Paddington Bear is a British-made cartoon, is it not? Oh, that smells so good. It looks so good. Now I'm gonna wrap that T-bone in bacon, and I'm gonna let it just soak up the juices. Hi, baby. What you doing? What you doing? Who's a good girl? Who's a good kitty? Just like my cats. They're like my deacons. What is this? Hey, what is this? You want to chase your tail? Oh, just knocked me in the head with your tail. I do nothing but feed you and give you belly rubs. My cats let me give them belly rubs. It's insane. I've never met cats that trusted me enough to give them a belly rub. Oh, Nymeria loves it. She's oh, she's all into the belly rub. She's got the most beautiful fur on her stomach. It's way more mixed with that color. I'm gonna get some pictures and some video. In fact, on my channel, I have quite a few kitty cat videos. One of them got like 6,000 views in like 3 days, and then it kind of tapered off. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go eat lunch because I'm on a diet. That's why I'm having bacon and steak with garlic and onions and a couple pinches of brown sugar within the mix of garlic, onions, bacon bits, olive oil. It's so good. Make slap your mama. In fact, I'm going to post the recipe in my post section. I had done that like 6 months or maybe even a year ago now. But yeah. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here from now. The next time you see me, we will most likely be on our way to Lake Misaki, probably in an hour and a half or 2 hours from now. And then I'm going to go get my hair cut because I think I got enough pop bottles to do it. So that's good. I just got to take the pop bottles in. So I'm going to go for now, but not forever. You guys know wherever I go, you are with me in my heart. And when I'm fishing, you're going to be with me. I'm going live at the lake. I think I know where my phone stick is to hold that joker up. It's 7 feet tall. And so we're going to go fishing. John, you don't have to miss this afternoon because around about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from now, I'm going to be at Lake Misaki fishing. Hey, look at this. Cheese slappers. Cheese slappers. You know how we got fish slappers on Veggie Tales? When Larry the Cucumber had to go to Nineveh to get the people to repent because they were being stupid and going against God. We've all been there before. We've all done that. We've all gotten a t-shirt. So I will be back, guys. But next time from Lake Misaki at the lagoon, and I'm going to take a little bit of a walk on the beach and show you how beautiful our lake is. The 7th largest inland lake in Michigan out of over 15,000 lakes. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. And never, ever forget